What's up, YouTube? Make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you are a part of what we're a part of. We love you guys. Good morning, Facebook. We're going to have an awesome show today. I'm very excited about the guests that we have on. I'm very excited about all the stuff we're going to be talking about. We also have gift cards we're going to be giving away. We have a giveaway that has finally concluded, and we're excited to make that happen. So today, we're going to have League City Mayor Pat Hallisey will be in studio with us today. We're also going to have Kathy from Community Impact Newspaper, the Bay Area edition. This is a brand new local thing that just started, and we are very happy and excited to have Kathy in. We're also excited to have Mayor Hallisey in, the mayor of League City. So this is going to be a cool show. If you have any questions for either of these people, feel free to go ahead and start asking now, because I feel like this show is going to be action-packed. So we want to hear from you guys. What do y'all have going on today? Yesterday, me and Curt went to Ron Carter.
We went to Ron Carter. I test drove a Hellcat. It's going to be a good... That's going to be my new vehicle for sure.
We'll see. We're working out the details, like about $75,000 worth of details.
It's going to happen.
75,000 details, but it'll happen. Good morning. It's 8:46. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
And we're going to have an awesome show today. Today may be one of the best shows we've ever had.
Yeah, we have the mayor of League City in studio today. He's on his way. We just spoke to him. He'll be here shortly. And then we are going to have Kathy from Community Impact. So we got a impactful show.
That is true. We're going to have an awesome show today. Mayor Hallisey will be in. He is the mayor of League City. We're going to have Kathy in. She is the GM of Community Impact Newspaper, Bay Area edition. It's a brand new paper that just came to my house. It came to my house, I think, a couple days ago. And I was really excited when I saw it, because it's like, hey, we're having Kathy in from Community Impact. I opened it up. Her picture's smack dab like on the second page.
Did you have to sign up for it, or are they just sending those out to
people?
It
was just blessed. It was a blessing. It just came to my house. I didn't sign up for it at all.
But you bought it.
No, sir.
Wow, that's awesome. That it just shows up.
It just shows up. Yeah.
But I don't live in the Bay. Well, I live in Bay. What counts as the Bay Area?
That's a great question. That may be something we have to ask Kathy whenever she comes in. Maybe we can talk to Mayor Hallisey about it as well, because I feel like League City, that counts as part of the Bay Area. You know, there's the area that we live in. I feel like we're very fortunate. There's a lot of stuff going on, like in League City and Kemah and Lamar, Texas City, Santa Fe, Hitchcock, Galveston. There's a lot of awesome places, and we go out as much as we can to these places in the community, just trying to hear people's stories. You know, yesterday, Curt made a phone call to a shop in Hitchcock that we're excited to check out, I think, next week.
Yeah, we're checking them out. They had their ribbon cutting ceremony tomorrow afternoon from I think 4 to 7.
Yes.
It's in Hitchcock, and they are two women
who
are deciding to start a
body
collision
shop.
repair shop. And that's rare. They're like, I think maybe there's only 3 places in the entire country that is ran by a woman.
I love it.
So it's fantastic. And it's right here in our backyard. Hitchcock is literally next street over.
Yeah, it's next to the blimp base. So if you're listening right now and you're familiar with where the blimp base is, that's where they're at. So we love hearing stories like this. We love going in the community and just spotlighting local people who are doing cool things and making a difference. Right now, it's 8:48. You are listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. We're going to be on till 11 a.m.
Yeah, so stay tuned for more. If you really like KHEA Radio, make sure that you're liking us on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure that you're sharing this out. Maybe give us some heart reacts. Give us some angry reacts. I don't know, maybe some sad faces. Anything to let people know that you're listening and watching. And then, there's a cool way for you to tell other people to join in.
What is it?
You can invite your friends. If you go to our Facebook page, click on community, and then you will be able to invite all of your friends to KHEA Radio, and then they'll be able to tune in and watch and listen and be a part of what we're doing here in Lamarck, Texas.
Yes. Good morning to everybody tuned in on our YouTube live stream. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure that you are liking KHEA Radio on Facebook. We appreciate it. And we don't take it for granted that you decided to start your morning with us today. I feel like this may definitely, I'm 100% sure this is the best way you can start your weekday morning every day. We usually start around 8:30-ish a.m. And then the show's over. Kickstart is over at 11 a.m. That's Monday through Friday. So if this is something that you are enjoying, make sure you make this part of your morning routine.
Yes, make sure that you continue to tune back in throughout the day. We have great stories, great information that we provide, like yesterday when we went to Ron Carter.
Yes.
And you saw me in my brand new car, the Hellcat. It was awesome.
Okay, if you're watching on Facebook, I need to hear some feedback. Did anybody see the video that we posted from Ron Carter? We met with Jay. We met with Joe. We met with my new friend Carlton at Ron Carter. We walked in the door. They said, "Hey, what's up, guys? How can we help you?" I said, "Actually, we're here to help you."
And they're like, you guys sound like salespeople. And we're like, actually,
we're not salespeople at all.
We're like, what's your name? And they're like, well, it was great. We were the sales guys. And they're like, we should take notes.
Well, here's the thing. Nah, I don't know about that. But I feel like if we were salespeople, we would not be good at it.
No,
No,
because we would be having too much fun.
We tried doing sales before. It didn't work out too well. What we decided to do is like to go in the community and just spotlight awesome things, awesome people. And yesterday we went to Benito's in Lamarck, which has been there for over 50 years. It's a Mexican food restaurant that has been family owned, operated. And I just wanted to go, and we had a good time. We met with Colleen, who works with the city of Lamarck, and learned about some cool things coming up.
Yeah, we had a wonderful meeting with the Kiwanis Club in Lamarck. They help out raising money for the youth of our community. So we're really excited to see kind of what the Kiwanis Club can do. They do scholarships. They did. They've done some fundraisers with apples, and I think they're planning even an apple cider like event.
I like apple cider.
I love apple cider, especially like warm.
It has to be warm.
Right.
I mean, if you drink it cold, I think it's just apple juice. So yeah, then there's like also wassail. So I think it's the same thing. So whenever I was in junior high, my 7th grade history teacher, which in 7th grade here in Texas, we generally take Texas history, probably one of my favorite history classes ever. It's very important. I feel like people all over the world should probably learn Texas history. I feel bad for you growing up in Nebraska, not ever having the opportunity to take Texas history. Anyways, shout out to Miss Barker.
I learned about the Alamo. That was about it, right? That's all.
That's very important.
Texas that was important, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
remember the Alamo.
Basically, we shoved what you guys take for a whole year into like a week.
There's a lot more.
Okay.
There's a lot more that goes into it. So my 7th grade Texas history teacher, shout out to Miss Valda Barker. For like around Christmas time, we always had wassail. She made wassail, and then
wassail, as in like a mispronounced form of waffle.
No, wassail. That's what it was. It was like apple cider, but she called it wassail. And it was like in a big cooler, and then you drink it and it's hot and warm, and put like cinnamon sticks in there, and it was good. So that's one of my memories from like junior high school.
I don't think I've ever had wassail.
Well, just think of apple cider, because I'm pretty sure it's the exact same thing, maybe a different recipe. I don't know, but that's one thing that comes to mind.
Wassail.
Yeah. So we were at the Kiwanis Club, met with Colleen at Benito's in Lamarck. It's like one of the pillars of Lamarck, Texas. I feel, that and Leo's, the two restaurants that come to mind. After that, probably Kelly's.
Yeah, and then Texas Pit Stop.
For sure.
Yeah, those are the staples of food.
I was thinking of like longevity. Like, man, 50 years. Can you imagine a restaurant being there for 50 years? Benito's, and that's the one that comes to mind.
It looked delicious. It tasted delicious. We had some. Oh, my favorite was the bell peppers with the stuff inside of it with the cheese on top. Ooh.
It's 8:53. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. Today is going to be an awesome show. We're already having fun. It's only going to get better. We have Mayor Pat Hallisey, the mayor of League City. He's going to be in studio around this 9 o'clock hour. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to have a bunch of questions. We're going to be listening to his story. We want to know everything that he wants to talk about, pretty much.
I think one of the things that, you and I were mentioning, the first thing that we have to find out is why the color green.
Yes.
You know, like that's different than any other person that we've kind of seen. He always has the green logos. Plus, I'm really excited. He's done a lot of things in League City, like the Oaks and stuff like that. He talks about one of being his like staple of what League City is.
It is.
And you live in League City, so this is your mayor.
That's correct.
And so you can actually find out a little bit more about him.
I'm going to find out a lot. We're going to have a fun time. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you have any thoughts, let us know. We're also going to be talking to Kathy, who is the GM of Community Impact Newspaper. If you live maybe around me, you probably got one of these. It was delivered in the mail, and it says Volume 1, Issue 2, September 7th through October 4th. So I'm guessing they're going to be pumping out Issue 3. I guess maybe like October 5th or so. But I was looking through this for the past couple days, just kind of reading everything about it. And so it kind of has a little bit of little background on Kathy. And this is a brand new publication that I'm excited to have come to our area. It's another way for people to learn about what's going on in the community. It's another way for people to get their word out. So I'm excited. And here's what I'm going to ask. Do you already know what I'm going to ask?
No, what's up?
How can we become contributors? I want KHEA to have the KHEA corner. I want something. I want to help contribute to what we have going on in the Bay Area.
Actually, there's a page right here. They're going to be like, you can get this little corner on this little flyer in the corner, and that's it. And
no, I want to write copy. I want to write copy. I want to be like beating the streets. I'm going to have a little hat on with like a pencil protector right here, and I'm going to be like
glasses.
Well, I already have the glasses.
You already have the glasses.
I have the glasses down, and so I'm going to have like a little Superman S and suspenders on.
The hat.
That's what I said. Yeah, I'm going to have the hat. I'm excited.
Yes, I can see that happen.
And I'm going to be getting down to the stories. I want to help in any way that I can and that they'll let me. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. We're going to be on till 11 a.m. I'm excited. What's everybody got going on today? Let us know. We want to hear from you. You can send us an email, khea@khearadio.com. You can also send us a text message, 346-704-1806. You can also like us on Facebook. Make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at KHEA Radio. There's a lot of different ways that you can get a hold of us.
Yeah, and stay tuned because later on in the show, we are giving away the 3 $20 gift cards to Sammy's Wild Game Grill, which is located in the Heights in Houston. They do some really cool stuff like wild game, and that include like emus and kangaroo and camel empanadas. And it's just going to be, for you guys to win these gift cards is going to be exciting. We had a lot of people intrigued about this, and we're excited to give back to the community.
We also have a giveaway going on right now that is with Southern Boy Cafe. So if you have not seen that video, be sure to go check it out. It's streaming. It's our pinned to the top post on our Facebook page. All you have to do to be eligible to win one of like $150 in gift cards is like the video, comment, and share. And you're entered. And then we let the software and our computer kind of take care of the rest. So make sure that you are doing that. Make sure that you are entered in because you never know. We like to give away everything. Hey, can I ask everybody a favor right now? It's kind of hard. But if you're watching on Facebook and you feel inclined, maybe you feel like being kind to us today, go ahead and share this video out because we're going to have a lot of good content with the mayor of League City coming in, with community impact coming in. Go ahead and share this video out. So that way people on your Facebook wall, your friends will be able to see it. So that way they will be able to ask questions. They will be able to get the answers that they're wanting to know. That's one thing about us. We like to have the show 100% interactive. You know, me and Curt, we talk to each other all the time. And what we really enjoy is talking to other people because we spend so much time together, which is good. It's great. But sometimes it's like, Curt, okay, I need to have my friends from Facebook. I need to have my people that I feel like are family members tuned in and helping be involved in this conversation and this topic. And that's what we want to be known as, you know, people who kind of like listen to the audience and help out asking questions. So we're going to take a quick break. Right now it's 8:59. During this 9 o'clock hour, we're going to have Mayor Pat Hallisey in studio. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM.
Education has.
What's up, people? Yes, Vanessa, I was going to try and comment back. about that. So yeah, I got mine in the mail too, and I was looking at it. So there are opportunities for businesses to, I'm guessing, like advertise. Like I see Freddy's in here, Freddy's Steak Burgers. Here's some insurance. Nothing Bunt Cakes, which Kurt was talking about yesterday. Christian Brothers Automotive. And I don't want us to advertise. I want us to be like, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Pat Halsey.
Gardy Garcia.
Gardy, nice to meet you, sir.
Yes, sir. Nice to meet you. So right now we are live on Facebook, and we have a good time.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, usually what we'll do, you can wait to put them on because you'll hear something else,
Okay.
and then whenever we'll go on and talk. So right now there's music playing, but then we're live for social media and for everything else.
This is wonderful. Have your own radio station here and everything? This church has really grown.
Yes, it has. Abundant Life, I think, is over 30 years, like 34 years that Abundant Life has been here. Our radio station's been here for about 3. And we recently, like in November is whenever we started doing our morning show.
Okay.
But we love to go out in the community. We love League City. I live in League City.
Oh, you do?
Yes, sir.
Where do you live?
I live in Hidden Lakes.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I live in Hidden Lakes. And before that, I lived in Marbella.
Okay.
And we kind of outgrew where we were out there and moved down the street because we love 96, all the developing that's happening. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Are we going to talk about faith this morning? I love to talk about faith.
We can talk about anything.
I'll tell you how God saved my life.
Yes, sir. We'd love to hear the story. Well, we can go ahead and start talking about whatever. And then,
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about.
and then in 2 minutes, we'll probably go back on the FM too. So right now, people on Facebook are going to be hanging out with us.
Okay.
My headphone volume, can you turn it down just a little bit, which is the master one on the very left?
Does that do everybody's?
No, it's mine.
I just turned it down 2 clicks. So, what's up, Facebook? If y'all have ever wanted to ask a question to Mayor Pat Halsey, now is your time because we have him in studio. And I've also seen that y'all have been doing these like meetings with the mayor.
Yes.
So there's been a couple of those.
Well, it's been almost 3 years of them.
Okay.
We started that to give people an opportunity to have access. And there's a lady that's part of the campaign that goes out and finds us a different location every month. And this month we're going to the Y.
Okay. I saw, was the last one at HEB?
HEB.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one on 96?
Was.
Gardy loves HEB.
Oh, he does.
He like HEB is where it's at. Like he's in there every day. He usually goes in with the red shirt. And everyone's like, "Hey, can you point me in the right direction?"
They think I work there, and I think that may mean I'm there too much. But
I'm trying to remember the lady's name. Kind of a tall, attractive woman. That's the manager, who's very nice, and then Amanda, who's their marketing person, who's just terrific. They were big helps to us as Kroger was during the storm, sending food over for people who weren't as fortunate to have a dry place to hang out or any dry clothes.
Okay, we got 30 seconds.
Okay.
And then we'll go on the FM as well. But if you're joining us on social media, on Facebook or YouTube, right now we have Mayor Pat Halsey in studio. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We are going to have a good time and get into everything, I think. So we got about an hour. Good morning. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
And we have a special guest in studio. We have Mayor Pat Halsey with us this morning. Mayor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing terrific, and I can't thank you guys enough for having me.
We're so excited to have you in. This is something that we've been like planning and hopefully like, hey, we got to make sure we do this right. But we are excited to have you in today. It's almost surreal. The mayor of League City. This is cool.
Yes. So talk a little bit, Mr. Mayor, about some of the things that make just kind of get this going a little bit. What makes League City League City?
Well, League City was was originally founded by a family named Butler who came here from Ohio in about 1864 or 5. They planted oak trees all over town, which we're famous for now.
Mm-hmm.
But we were a small ranching and farming community up until the the early 1960s when NASA came in. And of course, the whole Clear Lake area started to grow. When I have lived there 45 years. And when I first got to town, it was a little sleepy community with one traffic light, 5,000 people. And today it's a sprawling urban setting of somewhere between about 107,000 and 110,000 people. It's a diverse community with folks from all over the world. Of course, petrochemical used to be NASA was the main industry in the area, but it's pretty much petrochemical today. We're getting a lot of folks from down here in Lamarck, Texas City, and Galveston. They call South Shore Harbor the mini Apple because so many people from Galveston came. Galveston calls itself the baby apple. But anyway, we are growing like crazy. A lot of very exciting things going on in town. We still have 48% of our land area to be developed, and we are anticipating it build out to be somewhere in and around 250,000 people.
Wow, that's so it's 48% developed right now, or 48% to be developed?
48% to be developed.
Okay. So there's still a lot more growth that can potentially and will happen eventually.
Absolutely.
So how long have you been serving as the League City Mayor?
Well, I've been there 3 years this time. And 25 years ago, I was mayor for one term.
Okay. That was in 94, 95?
94, 95.
The first thing that sticks out in my head when I think of 94, 95 is that the Houston Rockets won the back-to-back championships in 94 and 95. That's like one of my first memories as a kid.
Well,
wow.
I think that's a good memory. And of course,
it is.
All of us down here were not League Cityans or Lamarckians. We were Houston Rockets fans.
At that point, yeah. Houston Rockets fans.
Very exciting time.
Yeah. We had some people in the other day from Butler's Courtyard. And then when you were mentioning just the history of League City, and they were talking about, I think 1909 is like way before League City was incorporated. That's whenever their building was built. And League City has a lot of history, and that's why they have like a historic League City, and you hear about all that stuff. Do you have a couple of places that just maybe come off the top of your head, like in League City, that have so much history, like Butler's Courtyard?
Well, but and I'm sure they told you, but I'll tell you again, Butler's Courtyard was a Sealy Hutchins bank, and they were out of Galveston, and there was a young Walter Hall who bought controlling interest in that bank in 1929. Of course, he moved it up to Dickinson and then built his bank in League City in the 50s. But, that building is just the mainstay. It had a second floor on it. There was a post office on the first floor at the turn of the century. I have some pictures in my office of horses tied to the post out front. Wow. So, things certainly have changed. But in the second floor, when I first came to town, there were some older people there, Walter Hall, Allison Stewart, who relayed a story to me about how 3 cattlemen had raised their rifles against another cattleman riding his horse across the railroad tracks, and they shot him and they killed him. And, in those days, justice, I guess, was sort of left to who could be left standing. Mm-hmm. And when I think about that story, I think about really how far we've come in one regard and how little we've moved in another regard. Violence is still a part of our society, but we do have rules and we do have police departments to try to deal with that. But, that was rural League City. Let's see. There are Kansas Street, which runs north and south next to Helen's Garden. Mm-hmm. If you take that all the way down to the creek, go north on it, what you find down there is, well, of course, the fire training grounds and all that. But at the turn of the century, there was a bridge across there. And that's how it was Old Galveston Road, which is Highway 3 today. Mm-hmm. That's how people got from Houston all the way down to Galveston or Lamarck or Texas City, was down Kansas Street. And, you know, up until a few years ago, the bridge footings were still in the creek, but they became a danger just simply because there are so many jet skis running up along the banks there that some people got hurt. But Highway 3, you know, in the 20s, Highway 3 got moved to its present alignment, and it was still Old Galveston Road then. Went past Old Galveston County Park, which is what now is called Walter Hall Park. And then by the 70s, it had turned into a 4-lane thoroughfare going all the way down to Galveston. Mm-hmm. And I, as a kid and a high school person back in the 60s, used to take that 2-lane Old Galveston Road to get to Galveston. My mother didn't trust me on the freeway. You know, it was a new concept to them, I guess, in those days. But Gulf Freeway was started in 1938, I believe. And tell you the truth, they're still working on it, as you can see when you go out on it.
There's a lot of development in there. You look at, 646, 96, 518, that's all League City area. When you saw this, this is all still brand new. I drive by and there's a new shop that's popping up almost every day. Is that that's the goal for this area, right?
Well, it is. And, up until a couple months ago, we thought the Grand Parkway was coming out of Alvin, parallel on 517, and would intersect I-45 right there, 646, go over, go down to 146. And as you know, they're already working on 146 North. But it appears that the governor and lieutenant governor decided they don't care much for toll roads anymore. And we don't know what's happened to the Grand Parkway, whether it'll get built. We hope it does. The Grand Parkway is beyond the reach of local governments to come up with the kind of money necessary to get that done. So toll roads is a user fee, and I don't much care for them either. Right. I agree with them, but I don't know how else we could get that done. Now, all that being said, that whole southwest side of League City is what is exploding right now. We have 3 major land developments that are out between 517 and where 646, if you took a straight line through, was going to be. Our hope was, and our dream was, that commercial development would follow that Grand Parkway. And so we had states set aside enough land along that route so that commercial development could be there, all with the idea that the Grand Parkway, part of its scheme was to tie the 3 major ports in the region together, to tie the Port of Houston, Port of Galveston, and the Port of Freeport together for moving goods. And we still think that's a viable reason for doing it. The Houston port is expanding like crazy, which is creating jobs and opportunities for everyone. We're just waiting for the highways to get around us. And we haven't given up on the Grand Parkway. Mm-hmm. All the mayors in the North End, including your mayor here in town.
Mayor Hocking,
great guy, are supporting that Grand Parkway. And, transportation and water are the 2 major challenges we have for us in the future. Water being the heart of civilization. You can't live without it. And we're taking definite steps to make sure our supply of water up until the build out takes place. We've got an arrangement with City of Houston, and we get 85% of our water from the Trinity River. And Houston processes it. We buy it from them, and they send it down a pipeline. 15% from the Brazos River, which is done through the Galveston County Water Authority.
Right now, it's 9:13 a.m. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. We're going to be on till 11 a.m. Right now, we're talking to Mayor Pat Hallisey. If you have a question, please feel free to ask on our Facebook page. We're going to get those asked and answered as soon as we can. But I do have to ask. So you've been the mayor. You've been serving, I think you said, since 2016.
3 years.
So the 3 years. So what are some moments that stick out to you as like maybe the city's accomplishments, your accomplishments? Like, what are the highlights of the past 3 years so far?
Well, I think the first and foremost, when I ran 3 years ago, I made several commitments to the people in town. One, was that I would get civility back within the institution. We had council members that were fighting. They were off the rails. They just really forgot why they were there. They were punching each other at meetings. And I said that would change dramatically, that I would invest time and effort to make sure our employees worked in an environment that was challenging to them. And we have done that. We've affected our agreement for water. Water was a big issue back then. We said we had to have it to build out. We've affected a long-term agreement with the city of Houston to supply us with water. I-45 expansion is major to our ability to transport ourselves in and around the Houston region. And we have not given up on the Grand Parkway, which is significant to us because 65% of our working population leaves League City and goes to the northwest corner of Harris County for employment. And the last thing is the economic development side is that we would make a strong move to get commercial development in town, not just commercial development with nail salons and minimum paying jobs, but sustainable income jobs. And we are well on our way to getting that done. And you mentioned the 646 interchange. That is a big thing right now. We're taking our Sportsplex, Chester Davis Sportsplex, which was a major effort. We're moving that to the west side of the freeway on 106 acres that we own. What we bought 50 acres 25 years ago when I was there at $14,000 an acre now is valued up and around $1 million an acre. Major convention center going in there because Dr. Greg Bonin, our state rep, had sponsored a bill and got Larry Taylor to co-sponsor in the Senate, which gave us an opportunity to capture the state's portion of sales tax, motel hotel tax, and about 3 other minor tax. That will go to pay for that convention center. With that, we've got a semi-professional ball club, much like the Skeeters.
Oh yeah,
coming to League City.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I hadn't even heard that yet.
Yeah, well, they
breaking news.
Yeah, but
that's cool.
The Sportsplex itself, just back to the people who live there. When we move that to the other side of the freeway and the developer is paying for that, we're going to end up with a Sportsplex and a half. So it'll be bigger than what's there now because we're already outgrowing Little League fields, Tony Cole fields, soccer fields. So we will have what we have and then half as many more, which is a good deal.
And that's benefiting the youth of this community. And that's kind of where I think League City has really grown, is just the amount of youth that are in that area.
It is a millennial stronghold, whether they live there with their parents or they're moving there. And there's still some moderate priced housing within town, but we're excited about young people because they come with new ideas, fresh energy in town, and we're very excited about them.
So we are talking to Mayor Pat Hallisey, the mayor of League City. It's 9:18. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. We're streaming live on Facebook. We're streaming live on YouTube. This is the kind of content we like to bring to you. So right now we have Mayor Pat Hallisey. In the 10 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking community impact newspaper. So this is obviously we're a local radio station and we like to talk local things. So, a year ago we were hit by Harvey. And the people of League City were affected. People of Dickinson and people all over the Houston area were affected pretty greatly. And some have still not fully recovered in certain ways. Can you share a little bit about maybe your thoughts on what happened in League City and what has happened since, and maybe some other thoughts?
Sure. Harvey, somewhere between 55 and 60 inches of rain in a bald coastal prairie is a tough shot to take. 25% of our housing stock was flooded. People were displaced. It was a tough time for everybody. What we did to try to counter that is we went on Facebook Live like you are today. I learned how to do that a year ago. And we talked to people. We told them this nightmare will be over. Hang in there. God's with you, and we'll be okay. We were working presently then and still working on recovery funds from the federal government. And a lot of our residents have gotten those FEMA funds to help them rebuild. It was a devastating time for League City, Dickinson, Texas City, Santa Fe. So we took the old Kroger store on I-45 and we opened it up as a distribution center. And if you ever wondered about the generosity of Americans, spend one day at that center and you would have been satisfied to know that we had tractor trailer trucks, probably close to 100 of them, and they came from every corner of the United States giving us help and aid. We had people down here that worked at that distribution center for free. They were just good League City and Dickinson people who worked there. We had a thank you for that. We got a lot of help. I mean, let me tell you, compared to the big urban centers of Texas, we're small. We had the governor down and had him in the center. We had the lieutenant governor. We had Senator Ted Cruz working down there. Mm-hmm. We had Larry Taylor. We had Greg Bonin, Wayne Faircloth. We had all of the delegation that has anything to do with Galveston County coming down to help us. And anytime there was a problem, when federal funds got logjam, we asked Senator Cruz to intercede to help us out. He did that. And we asked County Judge Mark Henry to help us out, and Commissioner Clark and Apfel and Joe Giusti to help us out, and he did that. All of them came to our aid, to Dickinson aid. Now, the aftermath, we live in a coastal prairie. It's flat. How do we deal with that kind of water? And we are presently improving all of our drainage ditches, for lack of a better word. They've all been cleared out. All the storm sewers within the neighborhoods have been cleared out. We have representatives on the Dickinson and Clear Creek watershed committees because we think that both of those ultimately take water from our city and the rest of the watershed, and they move it out to the bay, but they're subject to tidal flow. And as the water's rushing out, let's say out of League City to Dickinson Bayou, if the tide is coming in, it stops that water and it spreads out. And that's where the major flooding comes from. We're talking, there's been a Clear Creek project on the books with the Corps for 50 years now to deepen and widen it. We're talking to them again. We are talking to our federal delegation, trying to get them on board, as I know Mayor Julie Masters is as well. We're looking to the state for some help on those waterways, because as long as this continues to grow, it is a thorny issue that we have to deal with. We have some neighborhoods that are still struggling to recover. It doesn't matter what we do. We can't do it fast enough. And my heart breaks for them, because they had their house destroyed a year ago. Here were all this rain last week.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're getting a lot of questions, about that water stuff. But one thing that I knew, kind of just researching you and studying on what you've kind of done, your house was one of those that was flooded.
It was.
So you weren't immune to what was going on.
No, I wasn't immune, and I was in the hospital in Houston for 3 months, and I'd had 2 heart attacks, and I'd lost a leg, and I was in no condition. I felt bad for Janice. I was in no condition to go back and fix that house. And when I came home, there were over 100 of my friends who had bandied together to put our house back in order, which, God works in mysterious ways sometimes, and that Holy Spirit just creeps into the hearts of people around you, and we are eternally grateful. So when I did get out of the hospital, I came home to a house I could live in, and I appreciated that. But yes, we had about 2 feet and you might as well have had 8 feet because everything had to come out.
Yes.
I think, last week we saw, a bunch of rain happen. And then I think even like last week, there were people in the Dickinson community that went in through and did their own work, which was fantastic for them to kind of step up.
Oh, we saw that. Yeah. There was like community members. They just got together and said, hey, in Dickinson, like we're going to come together and just clean, as a community and take care of stuff if we can.
I think, I say this when I talk about the storm. There were several things that really caught my attention. Before I went in the hospital, it was neighbors helping neighbors. I just absolutely, in my own neighborhood and everywhere I went, I saw people helping one another. I saw the generosity of people within the community as a whole to come together and help one another. And, there's a lesson in this, and not that this is not a political speech, but government cannot do everything for everybody. And every time I see people coming together to help one another make this world a little better place, I know that God's divine intervention is happening in that, and it puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, and there's a lot of moving parts whenever you have anything done. Like you mentioned, getting that toll road, how awesome I get, that would be, and the access and all that. But it's bigger than just local city government. And anytime you have something done, I know you mentioned something about Clear Creek and how there's been something on the books, and I mean there's a lot of moving parts to these things, and that's something that I think all of us should try and do our own research. Those city, like the council meetings and all that, those are open to the public. And how does that work? And then also, can you tell us a little bit more about the meetings with the mayor that you've been holding as well?
Yes, our public meetings are the second and fourth Tuesday of every month at 6:00 at 200 West Walker, which is the municipal court and council chambers. And the public is invited. There's an opportunity to speak. You have to put your name on a list so we can have some order, but they can talk, and we don't deny anybody that opportunity. Now, to talk about the mayors, after Hurricane Harvey, all the local mayors, and particularly in the North End, got together and said, we cannot sit back and allow this to go by without making some statements. And so let's together, not just one of us, not two of us, but let's all together get a bus trip up. Let's go up to Washington. Let's talk to the lieutenant governor and governor about the Grand Parkway. Let's go to Randy Weber, our congressman. That's another person that worked the center down there. But let's go to Randy Weber, and let's go to Senator Ted Cruz, and let's go to the people at the federal government that we can get to and make a statement that we need some help. Now, people say to me all the time, gosh, Pat, you have to stop and think about this. You moved to a coastal prairie. And I use that term all the time, not to chastise people, but to let them know, don't give up on federal flood insurance.
Mm-hmm.
It's helpful at times like this. And I not only got flooded, but Janice and I had been in that house for 31 years. We'd never flooded. So what do we need federal flood insurance for? We dropped it, and we didn't have it. And let me tell you, we'll never be in that situation again. So people who live, whether it's in League City to Galveston, don't give up on the federal. It's pretty inexpensive compared to the other insurances you pay, and it's really helpful during catastrophes.
And I think that's one of the things, like nobody saw what was going to happen. Nobody predicted anything like Harvey. And it wasn't a hurricane.
No.
It was a flooded event where massive amount of rain fell. It was 50 some inches,
50 to 60 inches.
I mean, even like Florence. Okay, Florence didn't even come close to that, and they still flooded. So flooding happens, and I think we're getting some feedback on our page here. That you're working on it, correct?
Yeah,
we are.
Yeah, people are concerned. That's what they're asking. Like, well, with the potential growth in League City, and there's still a lot to be developed. I guess making sure that things are in place so we can be better prepared, and things are in the works that people see, and I'm guessing things are in the works people don't even know about.
They are. And I try to tell people, state law says that you cannot take your runoff water and put that on another piece of somebody else's property. You can't do it. Yeah. So you have to organize, you have to engineer your deal. I'll give you a good example of that. Bay Ridge, which is on our southern boundary, and it bounds up to Dickinson. In 1979, we had Tropical Storm Claudette. We had 42 inches of rain drop in a 24-hour period of time in Alvin. Absolutely flooded Dickinson Bayou and flooded Clear Creek. I lived right off 518 in those days. We had to canoe out of the neighborhood for supplies. It was that bad. When you get 42 inches of rain that covers everything in League City, then that puts in perspective the magnitude that Harvey was. If it happened to us once or twice, it's going to happen to us again. What have we done? We have taken we didn't wait on the federal flood maps. We elevated our base elevation for new housing, which means we're not going to stand in front of 25% of our housing stock like we did this time and say, we're sorry you flooded. Anybody that builds in League City today has to build about 12 to 24 inches higher than any place else in town. Where did we get hurt the worst? In the oldest neighborhoods. You know, Bay Ridge was built out there in the early 60s. And frankly, after Claudette, Tropical Storm Claudette, the city built a berm around Bay Ridge. But development has also come around Bay Ridge. And runoff is now coming from areas that are developed. And some of that seeps over into Bay Ridge. They have a 500-acre worth of detention ponds around the neighborhood. It wasn't enough. The flap gates weren't opening to let water out of their detention ponds. This last week we had 2 pumps out there pumping that detention pond down, and it still couldn't do it fast enough. But those pumps are dedicated to Bay Ridge. And we're on our second engineering study out there to try to figure out another way, and it may be another flap gate, to get water out of that neighborhood. And let me tell you, those people were scared to death last week when that rain came, and It's going to rain from today through next week. And I'm sure my phone will ring off the hook from 3 a.m. till I go to bed at night.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time talking about some of this stuff, and we're still getting responses from people on our Facebook page. If you do have a question, you can give us a call at 346-704-1806 or shoot us a text message. One of the things that we're wondering, there is a lot of growth in League City, but there's also a lot of cool, interesting family-owned places that have really popped up. We're thinking of, like Cocoa Crepes, Pizza Fire, which is now changing to something else. Where do you frequent on a regular basis to eat? And where can you give us some insight of maybe some places that we've missed?
I will. I try to go to all of them. And I do go to all of them. I love Pizza Fire, and I love Manish, who owns that. He's just a great guy. And he's turning Pizza Fire into an Italian restaurant. So we're looking forward to that. We go to the Main Street Bistro after church on Sunday mornings, which is, let me tell you, if you want to have a good brunch, that's a great place to go. It's low cost and it's great food.
Somebody told us that's a great place, like for me to take my dates,
absolutely.
Or for, it's just a great home style place that is fancy.
Well, Michael, who owns that, is quite a chef. And, the truth is he puts out a great product. There's hardly a time you can go by there. You're looking hard for a parking spot there because it's in a small little strip center, but it's a great place to eat. Esteban's is a great place to eat. It's Mexican food on Main Street, but yet you go down to the freeway. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's one of my favorite places to go. They have one on 146 too.
Oh,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about. The Mexican restaurant over there on 146 next to the Palapa place.
Yes.
What is it called? La Brisa?
La Brisa.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, La Brisa is a great place to eat, and it's a great place to go listen to music on a Saturday night.
Mhm.
So, it's a good place to take your date as well. We're going to have a whole mess of new restaurants. We've got Salada down at Pinnacle
Salada's
Park. We've got Abuelos who just came to town. They're open, and that's Mexican food in Pinnacle Park. Pinnacle Park's going to be quite a place. But let me tell you, y'all drive by there so you know this. We're turning into a mini medical center there.
Yes. Yeah.
UTMB, when they finish building, will have over 3 million square feet of hospital space and research. MD Anderson's building is going up there. Across the freeway, we have Memorial Hermann, and they're expanding like crazy. Right at I-45 and Highway 96 by the freeway, we're going to have what's called Corpus. That's part of a new development. It is a human body experience. It's a 7-story building where you start in the leg and you go all through the human body and see how it works. They are building 9 of them in China right now. They're out of the Netherlands to begin with. They were brought to us by another group several years back, but that didn't work out. But now they have gotten with the people that are developing the convention center area. So it'll be a major entertainment area at 96 and the freeway.
Is that going to be aimed at like anybody, or is that like kids? Or because I'm trying to think, I know my son, I feel like I would enjoy it, and my son probably would too.
It's aimed at everybody. They've got programs for schools to bust the kids in to look at the human body as it works. It's and parents. Mm-hmm. There is a little small restaurant in there. There's a lounge where people can sit around and rest if they're tired of walking up and down those stairs. So it's what we've seen of it. It's pretty spectacular.
When is that supposed to be up and ready? Do you know?
I'm going to say they probably will. They've already determined the land. The developers bought it. They could start as early as within the next 2 years.
Cool. So the development on Pinnacle Park, like what's coming next? Is there anything else that we haven't seen break ground yet?
Well, Pinnacle Park is still expanding its entertainment area with restaurants. They're talking about back on Calder Road about some upscale multifamily living. We'll see how that works out. We're not great about multifamily in League City. I don't know why. We all grow up. We all live in apartments, so to speak, and then we go and buy houses. So attracting people to our town, you have to give them livable housing somewhere. And the apartments that we have in town are pretty upscale. We're proud of them. They're not off the rails in terms of expensive. But, you can live on the golf course at South Shore, or you can live off Hobbs Road, which is an interesting area on the west side of town. So we've got them behind Las Brisas and everywhere else. So the quality of development is still holding up.
Yeah. So with all those, like you had mentioned, like UTMB and all that, I'm guessing that's going to create a lot of jobs for medical professionals.
It's going to bring a lot of jobs to League City that pay sustainable incomes. And people always say to me, well, that's great, Pat. What's a sustainable income? With the average house cost in League City being $350,000, it's bringing people to town who can afford to buy all that housing stock that's getting built up. And, I'm always amazed at it because they come in with a new neighborhood. You look at Sedona, which runs north and south along 45. Mm-hmm. They have a lottery. People actually join a lottery and put money down to get a lot. They don't always get the lot they want, but they get it in the section they want. And they have the houses sold before they even start building them. So demand is there, I guess is the point. And I'm just fascinated by how they do that. And I keep saying, where are all these people coming from? And, the joke years ago was, if you're from Michigan, be sure and turn the lights out. And evidently, aside from the people who are, Houston is driving this. They're expanding like crazy. And people want to live in the suburbs. They don't want to live in the hustle bustle You don't always have to get on the road for 40 miles every morning to get to work. A lot of people work from home, from a computer terminal. And quality of life issues are major to them. We're on the water. A lot of people come from around the world that enjoy boating. So, we have lots of houses out there on the east side that open up onto Clear Lake. And so they're coming, and the quality of stuff being built in town is pretty phenomenal. I mean, we're proud of it. And I'm going to tell you something. Our requirements to build in League City are as tough as they are anywhere in the area, and they still come, and they don't complain. I'm just fascinated by that. And of course, when I say we raise the base elevation, that means the cost of the house goes up because you have to build the house up. You have to put sand and piers under it, because we don't want it being washed away with the next flood that comes and hits us, in anticipation that it's coming.
Right.
So I guess what is the end goal? Because I think, we've seen really this growth, and we're seeing the interstate that is having to be shut down this weekend. So if you're driving on the interstate, make sure that
518 to 96 on the southbound, I believe, right? Yeah.
So what's the end goal? Where do you say, okay, we can't build anymore?
Well,
there?
Let me tell you, in Texas, and we get, and that's a great question, incidentally, we get asked a lot by our residents, can you just stop development? And the truth of the matter is, the only way to stop development in Texas, in a town, is to impose a moratorium. And that moratorium has to be voted on by the people in town. And there has to be an impending public need to stop development.
Mm-hmm.
People sitting in traffic is not an impending public need. We had a moratorium in 1978 because we were discharging raw sewage into the creek. That was an impending public need. And the state came in and said, no more development. We made mud districts, put in package plants to handle sewage in every neighborhood until we could rebuild. We had in 1980, we had a bond issue to build a new sewer plant, updated and upgraded. It was the third time that it had gone to the voters, and on the third time it passed, which enabled South Shore Harbor and all the development to come in. The city was proactive this time. On the far west side of town, we have a $44 million sewer plant to accommodate the development on the southwest side of town. Our deal is we can't stop development. What we can do is try to manage it. And we're trying to manage the drainage. We're trying to manage the transportation aspects of it. We're happy to see I-45 expanding 8 lanes north and south. That helps our residents get into the metropolitan center, get into the work areas of Houston. We think the Grand Parkway would be a bigger help. But, we're at that every single day. The growth is coming. We're not afraid of it.
It's 9:42. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. We're talking to Mayor Hallisey. So we have some people asking some stuff, and so there are some people, and you've been touching on the things that they're asking. But so what people are saying is, they're concerned about flooding. They're concerned about some gullies that that need to be cleaned out. They're also saying, well, can we just put what you would put a stop on anything that's being developed until the drainage is fixed?
Well, of course, that's a great question. I just explained why we can't do that.
It's a vote, right? It's a vote. It's a pop like League City residents would vote. It goes out to everybody.
A moratorium, and it starts with a petition. I don't know what the percentage of registered voters in town has to be to bring it to an election. We have taken the position that we would prefer not to go that way and miss the opportunities, but yet we are doing everything we possibly can to improve the drainage. You may see a bond issue next year, because what it boils down to, we can do anything. It just takes money to do it. And I know the city manager is talking about a bond issue. Major issue there is drainage. Issue number 2 is the $100 million we have to pay for the water line to bring water to us to build out. But at the top of the list is drainage. easy answer for everybody, and I get the question because it seems like we can just tell people, no, you can't come here, and put up a sign on the freeway that says, Big City doesn't want development.
We're closed.
Yeah, and we can't do it. I wish we could. We could take a breather for a couple years, but we're a $200 million business up there. We ought to be able to handle multiple issues at one time. And I'm sorry that the last 20 to 30 years we didn't do much about drainage, but we're doing it now.
Right.
And we're doing as much as we possibly can, and still get a police department that functions, a fire department that functions, and the rest of the departments.
Here's another thought that we had coming in, and this is something that I've noticed as well. So they said they just want to get, I guess, your thoughts on, there's like a cell phone dead zone. Like it's at 96 and South Shore.
Where you live, right?
Yeah, that's where I live. And you know what? I have AT&T, and I've heard people say, like, you need to get Verizon. I'm like, well, I've had AT&T since I was like as a kid, like I'm not switching now. But hey, I have noticed in the past 2 weeks, I have gotten like the smallest bar on my LTE. And what's funny to me is that there's cell phone stores like on every corner. Like they got the T-Mobile. Hey, they're going to build a Sprint there. They're building this and that. I'm like, okay, guys, if y'all get together, I'll pitch in. I'll pay $1 extra on my phone bill. I don't know, but can we please like get my text messages to like work? So if I'm over at Craft 96, I can either like look on my cell phone or make a call.
That's another great question. Ryan Smith is our IT guy at the city. He's a very bright young man, and he works with Verizon, AT&T, and the rest of them. And I would suggest calling 311, which is our line, to get some help, or call 281-554-1000 and ask for Ryan Smith and let him know where that dead zone is. I know he's working with people on the west side, similar issue, and he has worked with people all over town on it. Ryan will shoot me for getting him in the hot seat, but he's a good guy, and he does a great
His
job.
phone is going to be ringing off the hook now.
Yeah, 281-554-1000. I may call myself, but not from 96 in South Shore, because that's not going to work.
Can we talk a little bit about one of the things that we wanted, like probably the most important question that I had of the day, is we've noticed that you really like the color green.
Yeah.
Like all of your signs are green. I was like, Gardy, he's wearing a green polo today. This is just a sign. Why green?
I'm Irish.
Ooh.
I am Irish. My grandfather came across on the boat in the 1880s on the end of the potato famine, and he settled in New Haven, Connecticut. My father was a proud Irishman. I mean, he had the little red cheeks to go with it, had a felt green beanie that he wore every year at the St. Patrick's Day parade in Houston. When I started running, a story popped into my head about my heritage. My grandfather came to this country with 25 cents in his pocket.
Wow.
And he settled in New Haven, and he became a policeman. He was a beat cop, walked up and down the street. He made a good life for himself, made a good life for his wife and for his daughters and my dad. My dad was a proud Irishman, and he made a good life for my mother and for my brother and I. And, Irish people are somewhat notorious about being gregarious and happy, and I am that generally every day. And also hardworking, and green is a color like let's go. I don't give people excuses. I may tell them the truth that they don't like, but the answer no to me is an excuse for somebody that doesn't want to work at a problem. You can solve most of them. So green reminds me to go every day, put my best foot, I only have one foot, but my only foot forward, and, make a great day out of it and try to help people. I've been service driven for most of my adult life. In my early 30s, I worked in county government here. I was the head of the county's Beach and Park Board. Had a great public career, helped a lot of people in every city around the county. And I found out that I was service driven. That got me up in the morning, that motivated me. My friends were out making $1 million here and there, and that didn't interest me at all. What interested me was getting some things done that helped people. And so I found my niche. And once I found it, I just started. Now, I left county government in 1995, immediately ran for county judge. I was about as prepared for that as the man in the moon, and lost. But then came to League City in 94, 95 and got the bug. I thought I had retired from everything when I was 62 years old. But I'm telling you, 3 years ago, I watched what was going on at the city, how they treated people. Somebody came to the dais that looked different from them, and they got up and walked out of the room. And I thought that was wrong. That wasn't what a democracy did. The opportunity to dissent is a constitutional right. And so I took after them and said that was not going to happen while I was there. I might tell people they need to get their facts before they come, but I certainly would not deny anybody. And we now have a council that pretty much feels the same way. We don't agree on everything, but they are good public, in my opinion anyway, good public servants. They got new ideas, new ways of doing things. Sometimes I wonder if we can actually get them done, but without those ideas percolating up and creating policies, we'll get nothing done. So I'm happy about that.
Right now, we're talking to Mayor Pat Hallisey, the mayor of League City. It's 9:50 a.m. We have about 10 minutes left. This is KHEAradio.com and 99.5 FM. If you have a couple questions, please feel free to ask. We'll try and get those answered. I do want to touch on something that you mentioned whenever you first came in. You said a bit about your faith and how that has saved your life. Do you want to share on your faith and kind of the journey that you've been through?
I will. I was a cradle Catholic, born into the faith, baptized into the faith. And, growing up, my mother was staunch about going to church. I, like a lot of young people, had sort of lost my way for a while. And when my father passed away, 25, 30 years ago, I was sitting in the church and I just felt something come over me. And, today I say that was the Holy Spirit had wrapped its arms around me. And I went to the priest and I told him what had happened to me. And I really kind of expected him to say, well, show up on Sunday. But he didn't. He looked at me and he said, I'm going to have to pray about you. I'll let you know what I find out. And I walked out of there. I was dejected. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my chair after work one day and I get a call from the church secretary and she said, Pat, Father said that we're going to have a class for people that have been away from the faith for a while and are away from the church for a while. And he wants to know if you want to come. I said, oh, I do. I jumped at it. And I said, when is the class? And she said, it's in about 10 minutes. Well, if you knew Father Cargill, you'd understand this. That's the way he was. Anyway, I went. 3 weeks later, came out. I got really involved in the church, became the Grand Knight, was the same thing as being the president of the Knights of Columbus, which is a men's group within the church. Poured my heart and soul into that. God repaid me so many times over. And Janice, my wife was Baptist, and she converted to Catholicism because church is for families. And,
right.
Anyway, on that journey, October the 8th, 2017, almost a year ago, I came out of my house to go to work. The floodwaters had started to recede. Everybody was having a difficult time. And I looked at my swimming pool in the backyard and I saw 1 million minnows looking up at me because the creek had come over. Mm-hmm. Went to work, came home that afternoon and went out and laid down on the side of the pool. My daughter came out and said, what's the matter with you? Yeah, I'm tired. So, make a long story short, my wife came home from wherever she was. They picked me up, took me to the hospital. Long story there, but there were 2 women that were there that night. The hospital and the doctors I went to said I was in the wrong place. They didn't know what to do with me. I'd had 2 heart attacks at that point. And these women worked for Memorial Hermann. I I know they pay for stuff, but they saved me. They called up Life Flight, had Life Flight drop in over at Clear Lake Hospital, pick me up, take me up there. I woke up 11 days later, and I'm laying in bed, and I look under the sheets. I see what's happened to me. My daughter walks in and says, "I hope you're not mad at me." I said, "Mad at you? Why would I be mad at you?" She said, "Well, they had to make a decision, and Mother was a basket case, and they said if I wanted to see you the next morning, they had to take the leg." I said, "God bless you. You had the foresight to know." I stopped right there, and I said a prayer, and I asked the Lord, there's going to be a time that I'm going to want to blame somebody for what's happened to me. Please give me the strength to know that it was my fault. I'm diabetic. I didn't take care of myself. And give me the strength to do what I need to do. I'm telling you, at that moment, I felt that same feeling I had felt the day that my dad passed away. I felt the arms and the strength of the Holy Spirit holding me tight. And every morning, I thank God for my life. I may not have a leg, but I got news for everybody. It didn't stop me from going where I needed to go. I have the same energy I ever had. My faith, and I always had faith, but until you hit that spot where I was so close to death. And I have to tell you, when I was under, my wife says, "Don't tell this story. People think you're crazy." I felt myself slipping on 2 occasions. And what I remember seeing at the peripheral of my eyes was a light, like a light in the door coming through. I didn't see heaven. God didn't come talk to me. But I felt like if I slipped and I went either way, it might have been the end. And I didn't know at that time how close I was. The doctors didn't think I'd make it.
They said it was a coin flip, right?
It was a coin toss, yeah.
Wow.
And I owe my existence here today, and I give glory every day that the good Lord saved my life. And Janice always reminds me, he had more for you to do. And even though we don't always know what it is he wants us to do, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing until he tells me different. So that's my story. And my church was my strength through my difficult times. Knights of Columbus came and worked on my house. They were all good people, and my close friends for probably the last 50 years. So
thank you so much for sharing that. We've been talking to Mayor Pat Hallisey, the mayor of League City. Thank you for joining us today. Before you go, can you kind of let us know when the date and where the next meeting with the mayor is?
Oh, it's this Saturday.
This Saturday. What time?
It's at 9 in the morning, and it's at the Perry YMCA on Highway 96. Everybody is invited. I mean, we had 65 people at our last month, and we're on the west side of town where I live, and I'd love to have 80 or 90. We have the room.
All right. So that's this Saturday at the Perry YMCA off on the west side of 96, right there at I-45 at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. So make sure that you're out there. If you have a question, maybe we can get to one of the questions that you asked, then go have your voice heard and make sure that you get those asked. Mayor Pat Hallisey would love to have you. It's going to be a good crowd. And I'm excited that we had you in. Hopefully we'll have you again in the future. You can make time for us.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I had no idea y'all were here, but I will from now on.
Awesome.
We tell everyone we're the station that makes everyone a winner, but nobody knows who we are.
We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. During the 10 o'clock hour, we're going to have Kathy from Impact News, Community Impact News, Bay Area Edition. I think this is like their second issue. And so
came right to your house?
Yes, came to my house, opened it up, I read it, and I have a lot of questions. So we're going to have her in.
And we'll also take a look at the weather when we get back as well.
This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM.
These guys do a good job. I know. Oh,
well, it's all good. We'll get it. All right, Facebook. Y'all stay tuned. I think if we could take, you think we could take a picture with you?
Yes, you could. Absolutely.
Let's get a picture real quick. So we're still here.
So the people will know we were really together.
Yes. Let's see if we can get a.
You can have Kathy come in and tell you. Get all three
Gardy
of us.
and Curt.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
I'll walk you out.
Okay.
And we're back.
We're going down.
We're back.
We're gonna go.
So we're going to be talking community impact news, and I am excited for this. So this is what we're doing. Did you see my my candid video yesterday where I stumbled across this and I was reading it? So that was a fun time. I'm thankful that Mayor Halsey made time to come in. We tried to get everybody's questions answered in the best way that we could. But I think the cool thing is that on Saturday you'll be able to go ask at 9 a.m. if you're able to go. Hi, Kathy.
Hi there. How are you?
Awesome. So my name's Gardy.
Gardy.
By the way, yes.
E. Turner. Nice to meet you.
So we're streaming live on Facebook right now,
Okay.
and so everything that we say is coming through the mics. The mics are hot. Our video just comes through here, so we kind of got that going on as well.
Okay.
So we had a good time with Mayor Halsey. That was our first time to meet him.
Oh wow. Yeah, he's a great guy. Seen him at all the League City functions.
Uh-huh.
So he's always out there.
So community impact news. So I think I saw in Talk of League City that this was posted.
Yes.
And then I went and I found your Facebook and I tagged
Okay.
Kurt and I was like, hey, this is cool. We got to get we have to get somebody in. So Kathy, you're the GM.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So we're working right now on our third issue, so we're
Cool.
excited. So do you live in League City?
I do.
Okay, so then you got it at your.
Yeah, I did. It
Nice.
came to my Kurt was like, where'd you buy it? I was like, I didn't. It came for free straight to my
Good.
house, like to the
Yes.
mailbox. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I was pretty excited
So
about
yeah,
it.
saturation mail. So everybody gets it. That's our
Mhm.
whole. That's kind of
So
one
how
of our
many
taglines.
houses? Like how many
A
people
little over
get this?
almost 63,000. So
Mhm.
we hit all of the Clear Lakes 58, 59, 62 zip codes, and then
Okay.
all of League City, and then we have a portion we do Clear Lake Shores. So-
Okay.
and so the 60,000 is a really good launch number for us
Cool.
for our markets.
Okay. That's
That's where
awesome.
we started. Ultimately, we want to expand even more.
Yeah, because I noticed it's the Bay Area edition, and so
Yes.
me and Kurt were talking about that. And we talked to other people like, okay, what part is the Bay Area? So like obviously the places you were saying, but
Mhm.
it can morph into
Absolutely.
to more
Yes.
potentially.
Well, we had to look at what was, what made the most sense for the launch and all that. So ultimately, we'd want to include all of Kemah and all of Seabrook.
Yes.
Closer to the mic.
Okay.
And then when we go over the air, then you can put the headphones on
Okay.
as well. So
Okay.
to talk into the mic, and that's kind of the best way for us.
Okay, like this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Do you have any questions for us before we start?
No, I guess how long have y'all been around?
Sure. We've been around. We've been a station for 3 years, but me and Kurt have been doing a morning show since November.
Okay.
So we're about to hit our 1 year, and we
Wow.
kind of started in the after effects of Harvey
Okay.
that happened, and
Okay.
that's how we kind of got placed into this position. And we have found that our community is awesome, which we already knew,
Mhm.
but we are going out more, and we want to be a part of everything. So
It's fun. I mean, you learn a lot about. I've lived out in Clear Lake for a little over 24 years,
Mhm.
and you find all these places you didn't even know existed. It's really fun. It's been
Mhm.
kind of all these little hidden gems and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's fun.
So I added you on Facebook.
Okay.
And so looking at your profile, like just even like the things that you have done, I was like, that's cool. So this is only, y'all are working on issue 3,
Yes.
but what is your
Yes.
background?
So my background, I've got ink in my blood. So I worked 18 years at the Houston Chronicle,
Mhm.
and probably 12 of those years I was out here in the Clear Lake area. So I was over the Clear Lake office. So had gotten really involved in the community then when I was at the Chronicle and all that. I'm a past chairman of the board for the Clear Lake Area Chamber. So I was involved there. And then after I left the Chronicle, I spent about 4 years at Texas Monthly,
Mhm.
and which was more statewide tourism, that kind of thing, and did that, and then worked my way back into the local media.
Back
So
here.
yeah.
That's awesome. So issue 3. So whenever we were looking up community impact, so it looks
Mhm.
like it said Pflugerville, which I
Yes,
think is
that's
like the
our
Austin
headquarters.
area. So
Yeah.
is that the first one that popped that?
So that's where it started. So a little history on us. We've been around almost 14 years, and our founders, which is John and Jennifer Garrett,
Mhm.
and John used to work at the Chronicle years ago, so he's had a lot of newspaper background. He had moved to Pflugerville to live. He had taken a job in the Austin area,
Mhm.
and when they moved to Pflugerville, it was the freeway was under construction. Nobody knew where the exits were. It was just a real mess, and their thought was people in this community have a right to know this information and get this information. And it's kind of a light bulb moment. It's like, wow, we could do this. And that's kind of where they started in their game room, that they put a plan together. And it's been tweaked over the years. What do people really care about in their community and all that? So it's evolved as it's gone over the years. But our Clear Lake look is the 24th publication in Texas. We just launched last night, had a launch party last night in Richardson. So outside of Dallas. So that's our 25th. So, and then in a week from Thursday, we're launching outside of the state of Texas in Arizona. That's our first one out of state. So
that's awesome.
Right outside of Phoenix, so Gilbert, Arizona.
So I guess like with that growth, and we've already had some people commenting on saying like, complimenting the publication.
Oh, great.
They've heard of them and I guess have been receiving them. So I guess things are they found a formula and it works and,
absolutely.
And what people want to see and know. And, obviously I want to talk about impact, but that's something like with our radio station, that's what we ask people, like, what do y'all want to know? What do y'all want to see? And then we go and do those places. So whenever you have feedback and you listen to it, kind of helps out your
absolutely.
Success, so.
For sure. So
Very cool.
A lot of it, we go into each market, we do focus groups. So before we ever decide whether it makes sense for us to have a presence in a market, we go in and do focus groups. We talk to community leaders, talk to chamber people, and kind of get a feel, is there a need for this? If the market's already getting that information, then we don't want to be me too, we want to do so. But what we found in Clear Lake and all these other markets are really not getting that kind of hyper local news anymore.
Yeah.
And that's
because like the Chronicle, it's Houston Chronicle. So then maybe they have a Clear Lake office that kind of, it is what it is. And so for it to be Houston Chronicle, now it's like, hey, Bay Area, this is who you are.
Well, and they have their locals, they have their weekly zones that they do. And they try to cover, but it's broad areas.
Right.
It's very hard. They do it weekly. It's a lot of just press releases they run and things like that. Not all, some of it's local, some of it's not. It's just, nobody's really dug deep into the community, into doing these kind of stories. And we're monthly because, and I had some readers go, hey, can y'all go weekly? I'm like, no.
What would it take to go weekly?
It would be hard because you really, when you read these stories, the in-depth that we do for these stories, you can't do that with a weekly.
Well,
you have to dig,
like in here. So I see that there's you as the GM.
Yes.
And then there's Jake.
He's my editor.
He's the editor.
Yeah.
And so is it a tight-knit team?
So there's four of us. So I also have Jenny Avis, who's my account executive, and she started in fact, her first day in the market was at our launch party that we had at Lone Star Flight Museum. And then we also have a graphic designer that's dedicated to our paper and helps with all these lovely infographics and all that kind of thing. So there's so it's a team right now. It's a smaller team. We launched with a team of 4. And as you grow, and if you look to see some of our other our other areas, Woodlands, some of those are just huge distribution, and it's grown as the community supports it, as the advertisers support it, it grows. We add distribution, we add people, we cover more, it just kind of grows. The formula works well. It really does. People, the comments I've had so many readers that took the time to email me directly to say how much, and usually you just get complaints when you get that kind of stuff.
Oh, we know.
So as you probably know that we get, it was just great to get the compliments and how much people love it. Oh, I almost threw it away. Then I looked at it and I read it cover to cover.
Yeah.
I had one lady, it was kind of funny on the transportation. She goes, now I know what I'm cursing at. And the when I'm stuck in traffic and stuff. I thought that was funny. So it's good. So I'm glad we can help her there.
Okay, here's where the traffic's going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go.
Because you see the big stuff. The Gulf Freeway, it's just been under construction since I've been alive, and it's going to be closed this weekend and stuff. But we cover the ones that are in the community. People nobody's covering. And so
we got 8 seconds left, and we'll go on over the FM.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Good morning. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
And we have a special guest in studio. We had a fun time with Mayor Pat Hallisey. Thank you, Mayor, for making time and coming and hanging out with us. But now we're going to be talking community impact newspaper, which I'm excited to have Kathy Turner in studio. Kathy, how are you doing this morning?
Doing great.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. So I live in League City, and I was fortunate enough to get one of these straight to my house, one of these newspapers. Can you kind of tell me what is it that I'm holding? Because I have a community impact newspaper in my hand, and who all gets one right now for the Bay Area edition? So
right now our distribution is almost 63,000. So everyone in Clear Lake and its businesses, houses, and apartments in the 3 Clear Lake zip codes, 58, 59, and 62, and then all of League City. And then we have a sliver of Clear Lake Shores as well. So like I said, almost 63,000, but everybody gets it mailed into their home.
So how new is this publication? Because looking at the front, it looks like it's not that old.
No, we're actually, so the publication itself, Community Impact's been around for almost 14 years. We just launched the Clear Lake Bay Area edition. We're working on our third edition. So the first one went out in your mailbox in August. And so we hit right about the second week of each month. So we're new to Clear Lake, but we're not new to doing this kind of hyper local news.
Okay. And then whenever I was doing a little bit of looking around on Community Impact, where did it start? Because you said it's 14 years old. Where did it come from?
We started in Pflugerville, Texas. Our
Pflugerville.
Pflugerville. John and Jennifer Garrett are founders, and I'd worked with John years ago. He had moved to that area to take a job, and they moved to Pflugerville.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, Pflugerville, which is really, the freeway was under construction, and you couldn't, they didn't know where the exits were going to be. Businesses didn't know what was going on. And they said, people that live here have the right to know this information. And it was like a light bulb moment. And that's how they started, in their game room, coming up with what do people care about in their community. And it started from there.
And you also mentioned, I guess, what's coming next for Community Impact, like even like nationwide, or like, are there new ones that are in the works?
Actually, so our 25th publication actually had their launch party last night in Richardson, Texas. So
Okay.
a little bit outside of Dallas. And then a week from Thursday, we're launching our first out of state. It's in Gilbert, Arizona, so a suburb of Phoenix. So that will be our first out of state.
That's cool. How do y'all find these places? Like, okay, if it's going to be there next, like Richardson, do they have just the relationships that they have, somebody that they trust and say, hey, can you get this started, run with it?
So, but basically what we do in each market we're looking at, we go in and we do focus groups. So we talk to community leaders, we get with the chambers and really try to get the feedback and look at the market and see, is there a need for this? If, the market's getting great coverage already locally, then it may not make sense for us to be in there. But we really identify the markets based on the need. And that was one of the things we looked at. There was a lot of demand from our advertisers to be in the Clear Lake League City market.
We actually had people ask already on our feed, like, hey, I got that in the mail. I was contemplating like, hey, should I do some advertising there? What would you say to somebody who's contemplating that? Like, how would they get a hold of you? And is it a good idea to advertise with you guys?
Well, absolutely. It makes total sense to advertise with us. So I have a column every month. You can read me, but I have my email in there. So you can send me an email directly and I will make sure and take care of you. So the ultimate goal for us is to grow this publication to include all of Kemah and all of Seabrook as well. To do that, to be able to grow, we need to be able, we'll grow our page count, we'll grow our revenue as advertisers and people that live in the community support us. If you see an advertiser in our publication, you're going to that business, tell them you saw them in Community Impact. That helps. It helps us. It helps everyone. And ultimately, as we grow, we can do more coverage, that kind of thing.
So two things that I see in here that stick out. So I'm looking kind of like in the spots. It's like a quarter page.
Yes.
So we've had Pierre Castillo from Top Star Marketing.
Yeah, I saw he was here last week.
Yeah, Pierre's pretty cool. So I see his Bay Area Houston Women's Conference tickets with JJ Watt's mom, Connie Watt, the vice president of the JJ Watt Foundation. And
we're actually a sponsor of the event as well.
Cool. That's awesome. We're going to try and get there for that. We are excited. Then we also see next to that, somebody mentioned this, that we may want to be involved. It's the stop, drop, and roll. From
City League City.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that event?
Well, I know they're trying to, I guess it's for the Guinness. I was just talking to at the League City Chamber Luncheon the other day about this. I guess they're trying to set a world record, a new Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're trying to get everybody out there to do this. So
how cool is that? That one's Friday, October 12th, Challenger, Columbia Stadium, 8:15 p.m. I think everybody's invited. Literally everybody is invited.
For sure. And those are the things we cover. That's the things we want to have in this publication. So the to-do list, all of that. That's to really what's happening here. Support your community.
Yes.
What's happening here.
So it's a pretty tight-knit team when I was looking through here. How many people are actually currently working with Community Impact Bay Area?
4. And we have some support from some of the other locations. Like we're in Pearland Friendswood, so their reporter steps in and helps us some as well. So right now, a team of 4, hoping to grow that.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this out here. You don't have to say yes or no right now.
Okay.
But I'm thinking we grow it to 6. we have contributors right here. Right here. We're ready to go.
Here we go.
We do it for free.
You do not want Gardy writing for your community impact because it would not be that good.
Okay. Well,
Come
we do
on,
have
man.
good editing, so that could help maybe a little bit. But
How much are you paying that editor? Because it would not be
my
enough
gosh.
to cover it.
You're the worst.
Oh, wait. Would that call you out on air?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Gardy would be really good as a writer. He would write about food. And he would write about food.
food and
he,
food. Huh?
Yeah.
Notice
food.
how Curt hasn't said one word. He's been over there like in his own little zone, and then he comes and pops up only when there's an opportunity where he's like, "Hey, I can just be mean to Gardy real
I'm
quick."
working on trying to get our gift card giveaways for later today ready to go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, in here, I said you I assume you read our restaurant feature.
I
been
did.
in
I
there.
didn't read all of it.
You need to read it. And then you talk about the food. That's what we joke about it, food porn, because we have such great
Yes.
pictures of food. And so every restaurant we rotate around. If you'll see, we'll do a business in League City, we'll do a restaurant in Clear Lake. And so we try to share the love and all that. But with the restaurants, we highlight, we ask them, recommend what 3 dishes do you recommend? And we
Mhm.
take pictures of it. We talk about the owner, why they get into the business. Why,
Yeah,
it's really about the owners, and
That's
it's about, we want to help them grow their business.
of course. We have a giveaway. So we do giveaway videos, and we do a bunch of other featured videos. So we have a giveaway with Southern Boy Cafe, which is over in League City. It's
Yeah, they're fairly new, right?
Yeah, it's not even a year old, I
Okay.
believe. But Chris, so we're doing some stuff with that right now where we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun, and League City has a lot of good places.
Oh, no kidding. And they're popping up like crazy. That's what, so in there, we do our impacts, and we talk about, that's one of our most favorite, people love us the most for. And it's, you drive around the community, you're like, I wonder where that's going to be. If you see something
Yeah.
building, that's what we do. We put those in there. So there's been a lot of restaurant impacts in there because they're all opening all over the place in Lake City.
What
Yeah.
is your favorite place to go eat?
I'm not going there.
You can't.
No.
Okay,
I'm
so give us a
unbiased.
few. Give us a few restaurants that you're like, man, this is a place that you have to go and check out.
Well, let's see. I just ate, what did we do? We just ate at, and I hadn't been there in a long time, at Jolie's Seafood. And they're in League City, or Kemah, right on the edge there, and just ate. And I hadn't been there. It used to be on the boardwalk years ago, and they're actually going to have their 40th anniversary next year.
Wow.
In business. That's a huge. So
That is 40 years.
yeah. So that's actually probably a restaurant we'll want to feature based on the timing of that.
Very
'cause
cool.
it's-
So when we had Mayor Hallisey, and he was kind of mentioning some of the cool things popping up in League City. I mean, there's a lot of development like crazy, like Pinnacle Park, and some of the new things are popping up. The Sportsplex is moving, and he said that we thought was amazing. There's going to be like a human body experience, it's 7 stories. 7 stories high, where you walk up through this experience, and it's you start on the leg and then you go all the way up,
Interesting.
and it's going to be over
Okay.
near 646 and I-45 that they have, I don't know, all the acreage secured, and it's going to
Okay.
be cool.
Well, good. Well, we'll have to report
Yeah.
on that. Excuse me. Report on that.
Yeah. Right now, we're going to take a quick break with the weather. We hadn't touched the weather yet, and I am really interested because are we going to get more rain? I don't know. This is KHEA Kickstart. We're going to be on till 11 a.m. We're talking to Kathy with Community Impact Newspaper. This is the KHEA Kickstart Weather Center, brought to you by Texas Chronicles, History, Mystery, and Adventure with Curtsy, the Cookie Dough, Casper.
It's currently 86 degrees right now in League City, Texas. It is going to be a high today of 90. There is just a small chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. 7:19 is your sunset. Your sunrise tomorrow is at 7:06. And then showers and thunderstorms throughout the week. 87 Thursday, 83 on Friday.
So it is 10:17. We're talking to Kathy about Community Impact Newspaper, and you have a background. You said like there's ink in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
So how has the newspaper kind of like shifted? And like, I mean, you started at, you said the Chronicle,
Yes.
Houston Chronicle.
Mhm.
Is it kind of run the same way, but just on a smaller scale?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically what Community Impact has done is kind of taken it's the hyper-local approach. And I think newspapers are trying to figure out how they fit moving forward with the internet and all that. And so it's just a moving target for newspapers. But I started up, my first job was the Houston Post.
Okay.
So I laughed. I said, I went down with the ship. I was there about 3.5 years, and I joked. I said, nothing like losing your job, and it makes national news. It was all over the country when it closed. So, but from there to the Chronicle. So I've really worked in print for a lot of years. Let's just say that. I'm not going to give a number, but it's been a while.
That's cool.
How do you combat that? You know, it's obvious, they're like, well, radio's a dying industry, TV is a dying industry, newspapers a dying industry. Well,
Is
so
it? I don't know.
Is it something that really is a factor? Because we're still doing our radio station. You're still putting out publications. There's newspapers that is still happening. Is it really a dying industry?
There's, I think it's the old, they, say they're dying. It's not. I mean, one of our taglines is print ain't dead. I mean, we're growing. We're up to 2 million copies a month that we print. We're growing. The Clear Lake Bay Area launch was the second largest launch in the company. So, I mean, thank you to everybody that supported us, but we're growing. I think what it's telling you is that people want news that they care about and that affects them. So everyone has to kind of evolve to that, I think. And that's where the formulas worked well, because people read it when it's something that that affects them.
Also, they want news how they want their news. So
Exactly.
like not everybody is going to get on a website. Not everybody's going to look at their cell phone, the feed. There are people who have read the newspaper and they're going to read the newspaper and they want to deliver to the house, and that's what's going to happen. So I think the focus groups that y'all did, like you admit, that's part of the success.
Yes,
how do you get your news? Okay. If nobody is getting their news from a newspaper, then it's like, hey, maybe this isn't our market. Let's try somewhere else. So does that answer your question, Curt?
A little bit. The other thing that is really kind of intriguing to me is how did you decide who's getting newspapers, who's not getting newspaper? Getting the community
Kurt's
impact.
a little upset. He didn't get one in his house, but he doesn't.
Where do you live?
I live in Texas City.
Yeah, you didn't get one.
I live right next door to the church. But how
do we determine where we?
Yeah, and then also, can you talk a little bit about the pricing? Because if I wanted to go and buy the Houston Chronicle or the Galveston Daily News, I'm usually having to pay like 50 cents, 75 cents. Gardy just got it in his mailbox, like
for free.
He's living in the right area. No, so we really looked at, part of the focus groups is looking at where the best distribution is. I mean, we have to you can't cover, especially this area. It's so huge with all the, all the cities that make up the Clear Lake area, make up that you've got to stop somewhere. So it seemed to make a lot of sense. Obviously, we do want to grow as you were saying, about making sure we're covering all what we consider the Bay Area, Clear Lake Bay Area. And that's what the goal will be. But I laugh. I've had several people from Baytown that keeps petitioning for us to launch in Baytown and all that.
That'd be cool.
I mean, there's a lot of people, as they see it, they want this kind of news in their community. So, as we look, we're expanding next year. We're adding more areas, and I can't tell you where yet, but
we're getting it out.
We're going to get it out of you today.
To beat it out of me.
Yeah. You shouldn't have said that.
Oh, I don't know. What am I talking about? But,
I have boxing gloves in my car.
Oh, God.
Wow.
I have to apologize.
There's more growth, but
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's exciting.
Right now it's 10:22. We're talking to Kathy Turner from Community Impact Newspaper. The Bay Area edition is brand new. When can we expect issue 3, the new one?
It will be hitting your mailboxes. It's the second week, so it hits like the 8th, 9th, and 10th. So it's saturation mail. Post office, they have a 3-day window for delivery. So
you have to wait till the 8th?
You do.
Yeah,
but
so
you can go, you know what? Like us on Facebook, like get onto our website. We update. We know news that, we're monthly. We know news doesn't stop just because we're monthly. So we come out with web stories almost daily, and some even more. It just depends what's happening.
What is the biggest article that we should be looking forward to in the October edition?
Well, I think one of the most exciting ones, I'm excited about it, is one of our feature stories is on the spaceport. So
cool.
It's really, a lot of people know about, you've kind of heard of it, you kind of know a little bit about it, but we really dig deep on what does it mean to this community and what's it all about. And so we have some really cool graphics. I mean, I said all my graphics people were really stoked about it and stuff. So I think it's, look for that. We're also doing a story on the League City, on the fire department. So those are our 2 big feature stories. And then we always have our impacts and our transportation and our feature story, other stories, businesses and all that. So
I have 2 questions, and they're very important.
Okay.
The first one is, when should we have our articles turned in, and where should we send them to? And the second one is, so this is volume 1, issue 2. I never really understood. So is it like a year would be volume 1 and then it would turn into volume 2? Okay.
Yes.
So you had mentioned, I guess this is issue 2. So the last one would have been the September.
Yeah. So it was August now, and so we're working on October right now. So if you're interested in an ad, we still have a little bit of time we'll final a week from Friday. So
how much will the ad run you around?
It varies based on frequency. So each market's different because distribution's different. So
Right.
on that, so we can, because of our distribution, I'd rather customize. It's based on frequency commitments and all that. You
I
can
like
do
that.
inserts. You can do
Custom's
sticky
better.
notes. Custom's better. And,
Yeah. I like this one. So the Christian Brothers Automotive. I know there's one of those on 646.
Yeah, that's their other location. Yeah, they have lists both in there. So
Oh,
they're
it's Space Center.
Space Center, and they have a they have Lake City, I think, in there as well.
Mhm.
But so they've been a huge supporter of community impact in all our markets, and so they've been a great partner with us for many years.
Cool. So right now it's 10:24. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. If you're watching on social media, maybe you have some questions. Maybe you have something that you would like to know. We will get that question asked to Kathy and try and get you an answer. So we're going to be on till 11 a.m. We're going to be talking community impact newspaper. What's next? We're going to try and figure out and maybe even guess, like, where are the new locations? And we're also going to have a giveaway with Sammy's Wild Game Grill. So that's a place in the Heights that the giveaway ends today.
Yes, so we will be announcing those winners here shortly.
You want to go ahead and do it now? We'll take a break and do it now.
Yeah, we can take a break and then come back and announce the winners. You want to do that?
Sounds good. All right, it's 10:25. Taking a quick break. We will be back. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM.
Cool. So good, yeah. So yeah, we don't typically quote just because of it is
Sure.
vary by. Otherwise, I'd be quoting all sorts of prices because size and stuff.
No, that's cool.
We just want like a little like corner, like maybe like an inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter. Can we just have that in the corner?
No, I don't want an advertisement. I want an article. That's what I want.
What would you write about, Gardy?
I would write about the Bay Area.
Okay.
I would write about stuff that is cool, stuff that we
Okay.
do as the radio station, and it would be awesome.
We do have freelancers. We do have we use a little bit of freelance and stuff to
Yeah.
help, especially helping Jake out right now and stuff. So
Well, I noticed Jake is like,
yeah, he's
Jake,
busy.
Jake,
He's a
Jake,
busy
Jake,
guy.
Jake, Jake.
Yeah, but that again, it's monthly, so that helps and
Mhm.
stuff. So we work a couple months out in advance. So he's also working. We've already figured out what we're going to do in November and those kind of things. So we try to work about 3 months
Mhm.
out on our stories and
That's
stuff.
cool.
Some things move depending on timing and all that, but yeah, we
Mhm.
try to work out
Sweet.
in advance.
So yeah, we do giveaway video. Did you pick there's the winners?
Mhm.
That's awesome. I love this. I recognize the first name. So yeah, we'll do. Have you seen any of our giveaway videos or no?
I looked a little bit. I think you did. I watched a little bit of the cafe. I think you were at
The Southern Boy.
Southern Boy
Yeah.
Cafe,
So we did that one. Yeah. We launched that one on Monday,
These look good.
and then before that, we did one to a place in Houston called Sammy's Wild Game Grill, where they have like
Oh, okay.
python tacos and like
Oh,
elk
ooh,
chili and like
Interesting. Okay.
wild game. Yeah.
So how have they been around a long time or?
For 7 years.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah, so we're giving away, I think, like 4 gift cards. 3 gift cards.
Okay. Wow.
Do you have a pen over there?
I have this.
There should be. I put a pen over there too.
Yeah, went in my purse. You need a pen?
Yeah.
You can't use this? That don't work?
I don't want to use that on this.
Okay.
But I have the winners. Do you know how to say that last name?
Which one?
Oh, thank you,
Mhm.
Kathy.
You're welcome.
No.
That one will be fun. So you already know if you're a winner if
If your last name is not
Hard
easy
to.
to say, then you may be a winner. So Mr. Ardvinson said he's concerned about something, but I can't see the rest of his comment. The upcoming variance meeting for Exploration Green in Clear Lake. And then he says development.
has been stopped on phase 2. This is regarding airport issues around Ellington. I think Exploration Green is critical for flooding management.
Yeah, I know there's some. We've looked at that. I don't believe we're doing. I think Jake seemed to think it was not. By the time we come out, it was going to be a done deal or something
Yes.
and all that. So it'd been hard to.
That's stuff
But
you
I
have
think
to
it was kind of
factor
the timing of when the variance meeting and all that is.
Yeah.
So we were aware of it. We've had several readers send us notes about it that live on it, and say, hey,
Mhm.
what's been going on? So we had heard about it before, but yeah, I think interesting that it came up as phase 2 and not why didn't that come up in phase 1? Because it's the flight pattern, I guess, of birds.
Yeah.
They're concerned about the birds messing into the flight pattern of Ellington, I guess, or something like that to get for bird hits and stuff.
Interesting. A lot of stuff I don't necessarily think about.
Well, no, you don't, I mean, I guess it's in the flight pattern, but I mean, I live off Clear Lake City Boulevard. So kind of near there.
Yeah,
That's why the
Ellington.
spaceport was an interesting story for me living. I was like, am I going to hear sonic booms? What's going to go on over there, and stuff. So
Aren't they doing some of those tests? I saw something from City of Lamarck that NASA's doing sonic boom testing
in Galveston. I saw it on the news yesterday.
I don't think it's at Ellington. I think I remember seeing something, but I
saw something about I don't know, over
I
Galveston.
I laugh. I said when my kids were little, when Ellington with the F-16s would fly, and I'm like, what? They'd come out there. I just got the kids in a nap. Don't wake my kids up. Down when they were little.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So I've always lived close to Ellington, but.
Do your kids work in the industry?
Well, they're in
at all?
college. They're both in college right now. So
Cool.
I'm an empty nester.
What are they wanting to go that route, or?
No, it doesn't seem to be. My oldest is doing criminal justice,
Cool.
and my younger one's a sophomore. He's doing finance and stuff. So, no, so
Cool.
far, they're not following me.
Yeah. That's cool.
Set to begin November 5th off the coast of Galveston.
Oh, the boom. Yeah, I knew I'd seen something on that.
QSF-18. Quiet supersonic flights. Should be nice because then maybe they'll start using those on planes, and then we could go supersonic speed.
Well, that's what they've talked
travel
about. But
between-
you'll see the spaceport story that some of that's in there about how quick you'll be able to get all over the world from there.
Wow.
It's really pretty cool. Stay tuned.
Awesome.
You got something to say?
No, I'm just making sure that we're good to go. I got everything ready for the giveaway.
Sweet. So we got 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Whenever we go on, we'll intro ourselves and then do the giveaway, and then
Okay.
we can come
Okay.
back talking newspaper and everything
Okay.
else that comes up.
Sounds good. Yeah.
When did the decision, when did you make the decision to jump from Chronicle to Impact? And
Well, she went from.
Well, I went to Texas Monthly.
Oh,
before
okay,
that.
yeah,
I was at.
You said 3
Why
years?
did I?
yeah. Why?
4
leave
years. I was there 4 years.
Why leave the Chronicle? Or
There were a lot of changes going on there all the time. I mean, the newspaper industry's been. I mean, a lot of layoffs. I didn't get laid off. I made the choice. It just seemed like a good opportunity at Texas Monthly. I had several friends that worked there, and they were like, "Hey, come on over." So
Yeah.
it was just. I've been there. I've been there a long time at the Chronicle. So you just. I was there in the heyday for sure when it was after the Post closed, the Chronicle. It was before the internet. It was just
Mm-hmm.
it was huge. The newspaper, it was the paper, and it was really it's fun. It was great, but it's a tough industry without a doubt. I mean, we found what really works, but a lot of these newspapers, a lot of these dailies, you're trying to figure out. I mean, I think the fact that we're unbiased news helps a lot, and that we
Right.
don't, we don't endorse,
angle.
we don't tell you who to vote for. We just give you the facts. Like we'll have a voter's guide, election guide in the next issues, just focusing on the local candidates and all
Yes.
that. And
Cool.
so we'll give you the facts and then let you make an educated decision based on that.
Yeah, because those elections are coming up.
Yep, they sure are.
When we had the mayor in here, a lot of people were asking all kinds of questions. It kind of, I was like,
a little intense.
Yeah.
Oh, did it really?
just because people ask questions and they can comment and follow along, and it's just like, hey, well, we asked this question, this is the answer. As much as we're going to focus on it. So, but it's all good. People,
Managing those comments are always fun.
True.
yeah,
For sure. Thank you for all of our Facebook listeners and our Facebook family.
well, I mean, you can't make everybody happy.
No, you can't.
Just like Curt
Mm-mm.
is upset that he didn't get the paper.
I know.
I'm a
we
little
tried.
upset.
You can't.
I'm
You
a lot
literally
upset,
cannot send it to
actually.
everybody.
I mean, Gardy was like, nope, this didn't come to you. You can't even look at it. And I'm like, seriously? He goes, it's privileged information. Only the privileged get to read this. And I'm like,
I didn't say that, but I do agree with it. I do agree. Like, you should not. Nah, that's not for you.
Everybody has the rights. You can read online. We're online.
That's the only place.
Yeah.
Good morning. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. We're on till 11 a.m. I'm Gardy,
And I'm Curt.
and we have selected the winners of the Sammy's Wall Game gift cards. They have been picked by a non-biased computer software program that we don't even understand fully how it works, but we have winners. There are 3, and we're about to announce those. I'm excited. And Curt is like sitting on the button right now, ready to press it. He is drum rolling right now. To say congratulations to Norma Scott, Melissa Riefke. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry about that. And Heather Wolven. You 3 are about to be notified that y'all are the winners. Congratulations to you. Thank you for participating. And we do have a new giveaway that started on Monday that people seem to be liking the place. So we've been ourselves, obviously, to film the video and just to eat. But Southern Boy Cafe, make sure you go check out that giveaway video. Participate, follow the rules, and you can win one of, I think, like $150 in gift cards. So if you have any questions, let us know. We will be able to clarify the rules on and how to participate in that. Right now, it's 10:34. We've been hanging out talking community impact newspaper with Kathy Turner. Kathy, how are you doing?
Doing great.
We've been talking a little bit about the Chronicle, talking about Texas Monthly, and now that has led us to like the community impact newspaper, focusing on the community. So, this far in your career, like,
Thank you for not saying the years.
Where do you see this going? Like, what? So do you think the Bay Area would eventually come down like to Curt in Texas City, or would that have to take like another community impact, like Galveston edition or like a Texas City edition?
It'd probably have to be its own edition. I think, to really cover the areas the best way, the way we like to with the hyper local and all, really the focus, it becomes too broad if you, with too many cities. So it would have to be on its own.
Yeah. I think that
or at
this
least
area
grouped with another cities, within that close by.
Like Texas City, Lamarck, Galveston, Santa Fe, Hitchcock, or something like that. Something like that. I feel like that would be a good mix where there's a lot of new. That may actually be too big. Galveston could probably get its own.
So I have a lot going on there.
I have 2 questions. This is a free newspaper, correct? Can you pay to pick it up, or you just have to be able to get it in your mailbox?
Well, we do have extra copies, so you could go at the both Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce and League City Chamber. So we do have extras there. We also provide a few at the city offices and stuff like that. So we do a few overruns out, but we're not rack because people get it already. So they don't really, but we kind of put it for people that may be doing business in the Clear Lake Bay Area, but they haven't, but they don't live there. And so they can get the information.
So that's an interesting business model, because when you look at what I think we talked earlier as well, like Galveston, Daily News, it costs a little bit of money. How are you able to provide that? Because it costs money to print that, your salary, and stuff and everything else.
I don't come cheap.
Yeah, right.
Not with your resume.
How do you cover that?
So it's our advertiser support. I mean, we feel it's important that everybody get it in the mailbox. To do that, you're right, there's a cost. Now we control some things because we actually have our own printing presses in Pflugerville. We have a whole separate building next to our corporate office where we have our presses. It really helps you control the quality and all that by doing that. But it's advertiser driven. The more advertisers that run, the more revenue we bring in, the more things we can cover. And then as we grow with the coverage, it helps us also grow distribution. So it's a model. I mean, our next goal would be to add, like I think I mentioned before, Seabrook and Kemah down the road. And then with that, at least another reporter, because to do that, I don't want my editor to quit on me because it's a huge things to cover, but that would be ultimately the goal. So it's a planned growth. We expect to be able to be doing that fairly soon, as we've had great support from this community already, and we're just excited to be here. It's been fun.
That's cool. Well, I work for free and I write for free, so just keep that in mind.
Okay.
And for the October, November, December edition, and it'll be fun.
I do have to ask, you've worked in this industry for about a year. What is maybe your favorite story that you've ever shared?
Oh, God. Oh shoot!
I'm putting you on the spot.
You are putting me on the spot.
Kurt takes pleasure whenever he does this. By the way,
no, I do not.
You should have given me that question in advance.
I'm a former news journalist. I work for a local TV station in Nebraska. I can tell you my favorite story. It's one of
look at you. Congratulations. Nobody cares.
But I didn't.
Anyways.
Wow.
Enough about you.
No, but we want to hear yours.
I think probably when I worked at the Chronicle, I was there during Ike, and all that. So it was really, I think from that standpoint, the coverage, the Chronicle did a fantastic job covering all what I did to our communities and all that. And that was probably one of my proudest moments with that, is working with them and just seeing the kind of everybody working together. I mean, we helped get reporters. Reporters can't get somewhere, and can you house them? And can you, so it was just, it was a group, it was really from that standpoint, I think, from just seeing everybody come together on a story like that. That was big.
I affected this area pretty hard. This building that we're in right now, actually, it ripped off the roof of this side. So that room out there used to be offices that were on the other side, and they had to redo everything. And obviously the roof is repaired and they got everything done. But yeah, that was I guess 2009.
Yes, I think so. 9 or 10. Yeah, it's been, because it's been 10 years since I've been chairman of the board for the Clear Lake Chamber, and that was like right after Ike. So yeah,
being the chairman of the board of the Chamber of Commerce. So we're a member of Chamber of Commerce's everywhere for the most part.
Yeah.
But we don't even really know, we've been to the Texas City Mark Chamber, and then we're also members. I ran into the League City Chamber of Commerce, one of the employees there, and he's like, "Hey, y'all need to come set up your profile or something like that." I'm like, "There's a profile? What are we not taking advantage of?" Can you share a little bit about the Chamber of Commerce and what they could do?
My suggestion, I've talked to a lot of people over the years, I've been involved with the Chamber for many years. So I'll say the first thing you should do when you join is get with the Chamber staff. And, there's a reason you joined. There's a lot of different reasons why people join. It could be from business standpoint, want to make connections from that. It could be the social aspect, because there's a lot of community events. It's what is the reason you join, and then talk to the Chamber. What do they suggest? Because you could get involved. It could be a full-time job being a chamber, being a chamber member, going to everything. So you have to be strategic in that. So that's kind of really what I did. And when I first started with the Chronicle, we were getting involved in the community, and I did the business expo, and I got involved with Epicurean. And there were certain things that we did because it made business sense for us to do that. And so that's what you have to do, because it could be, you could volunteer for everything and they would love it and they would take you, but usually you like to get paid in your paying job too. So
yeah, make time for work. So we have a question on our Facebook page, and someone asked if there is a way where you can read Community Impact, the newspaper Bay Area edition online, completely.
Yes. You go to communityimpact.com, and then you can pick your community on there. And you can also sign up for newsletters. We have the newsletter, so you get the information, breaking news and all that as well.
Okay. So, that's cool. Email sign up. Easy. There you go. So what do you think, Curt? Are you going to sign up?
I can't get it in my inbox, so I'm going to have
to find a way. We can get it emailed to you, breaking news. You can also go select the community that you want to read about. And you may want to read about Pflugerville.
Pflugerville. Ooh, I love that word. I've never heard of it before, but Pflugerville. So what is maybe one of the reasons why somebody should pick up Community Impact over something like maybe the Galveston Daily News or something like that? Can you define what makes this so different?
I think what makes it so different is it's the hyper-local news. So we really dig deep on the stories that affect you in the community. So you want to know about what's opening up down the street, what's coming soon, what moved, what closed. We, anniversaries, we put that in there. Talk about transportation, local transportation that affects you in your community, not just the Gulf Freeway, which we know has been under construction for 100 years, but other stuff, things in your community that isn't something somebody else would cover. Those kind of things. Business profiles. We want you to support local, buy local, support your community. When these businesses grow, we all grow, and it's good for everyone.
So what if I have a tip on a story that I'm not writing for you guys? If I'm sending in a tip,
you're working it, aren't you?
There's a listener that's out there that says, "Hey, I'm curious on this," and maybe there are a lot of people. There are 100 people. Where would they send information? Is there a place where they can email, or
they can email to baynews@communityimpact.com. So it's Bay News, communityimpact.com. And that's where you can send, because we a lot of people already figured that out. And so we're getting some great story ideas. And you can send press releases if you're, and that what we do is we'll take your press release. We don't just run press releases. If we see that it makes sense as a story, we'll write the story. Now, so your press release can give us ideas for the story, but we will write the story ourselves. But we love that kind of stuff because we can't be everywhere. There's 4 of us. So try as we can't be everywhere. So you're seeing something and we haven't seen it. Absolutely. Let us know, or just things you think should be featured. I'm getting a lot of that already. So it's the word's out.
That's cool.
I think we need a feature on KHEA radio. I mean,
Well, I will tell you this. We have a really cool thing coming up. We're teaming up with Chef's Table Charities and the Moore Memorial Library, and we're teaming up with Texas Chronicles, where we're going to be doing this canned food drive for the Galveston County Food Bank for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And we're asking a bunch of local businesses, hey, will you help us? And so we're going to have these bins and places where they can become drop-off and destination points. So that's going to be fun. So we're actually filming this Saturday, and then we're going to be filming again, in a couple weeks. Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, we haven't confirmed that we're filming on Saturday.
I'm there showing up with makeup on. Just kidding. I don't wear, but I'm showing up. We're going to film. I mean, if the truck's there or not. But anyways, we're doing a lot of cool stuff here. We love to have fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now it's 10:44. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. Coming up next is LFC Creative. Stay tuned. We're going to be on till 11 a.m. Kickstart's on every weekday till 11 a.m., 8:30 to 11. You can stream us at khearadio.com. Stream us at Facebook Live. We're also on YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube. Follow us on everything. It's at KHEA Radio. This is 99.5 FM.
My headphones are really bothering
Tied on your
me
head?
today.
Is your head growing?
I didn't see
I thought you hit your growth
Are you getting a
spurt
bigger head?
already.
I needed a bigger head. My mom came
Yes.
to town last night, and I haven't seen her in 2 years, but that means I have to sleep on the couch.
You're not sleeping well.
It's kind of funny.
2 years.
I haven't seen her in 2 years.
You're not
She's
that
from
good.
Nebraska, and I work a lot here, so
Okay.
I don't get a chance. I don't get vacation. So
They work you to death, huh?
They do.
He-
They love it.
He likes to talk a lot.
Now that's a jug of water. That's impressive.
Thanks.
We did this thing with Dr. Aaron Chapa.
He's
up in,
He's a nutritionist in League
Yeah.
City.
Okay.
And we did a 21-day cleanse, and one of the things was you got to drink a gallon of water every day. And so
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it so you keep track.
So
Yeah.
remember.
every day we try to get
But he's on a cruise right now, and Ashley didn't tell us. Hey, Ashley.
Oh, hey. Dr. Aaron Chapa.
No, Dr. Chop. We didn't. Maybe they did tell us, and we didn't remember. But he's on a cruise.
You left us hanging yesterday.
Oh,
We missed
that
him.
happens.
We miss some of our guests sometimes.
Yeah, Dr. Chapa. He's pretty cool. He has a health segment that we'll do
Okay.
actually for an hour
Nice.
every Tuesday,
Okay.
and
Oh.
Tuesday morning.
You could do a health segment in the community impact. See, we're just making ideas.
You are
for it.
doing well. We have healthcare. We cover healthcare
It's cool.
and all that. So we do. I always thought it was a big deal with UTB taking over Bay Area Regional
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And we were already doing a story on the effect. We
Yeah.
already had worked on that before that came out. It's like that changed it kind of direction on it a little bit.
We were in
but,
Kemah the other day at a place they do lashes and massage, and there's a boutique. But there was a wonderful lady there who moved from the Woodlands down to this area to work at Bay Area Regional, and then got the press release the morning like everybody else did. And she was 7 months pregnant. She was like, okay, how am I going to get hired being 7 months pregnant?
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Mhm.
So she started a boutique, and I think her daughter,
Wow.
it was like nine months old now, and so she's been doing this boutique, and
Sometimes
it's
it-
worked
yeah.
out good for her.
And then it changes your
Mm-hmm.
course direction, but it's always sometimes change is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of story. I mean, that's one thing we enjoy doing because we do meet. I would say, how many new people do we meet a day? It's just fun.
You get to know. Well, yeah, and then you know so many more in the community, and it is fun. I mean, it's fun finding these places and doing the stories, and they're so appreciative. Everybody just loves that, And we give them little framed pictures of their story after that
That's
they
cool.
can put in their business and stuff. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
good. So yeah, it's fun.
Ashley on our Facebook Live thinks that we were talking about her when we were talking about Dr. Aaron Chapa. Ashley Morgan, we were talking about Ashley Villar. We got to start
Ashley, there you are. Other Ashley too.
other Ashley.
Ashley's in Louisiana, and she hangs out with us as much as she can.
She listens every day from Louisiana.
She's awesome.
We
Okay.
appreciate
Wow.
that.
So,
That's
do y'all
good.
have any? Well, I guess y'all don't, because the first out-of-state one would be in Arizona.
next week. Yeah.
So maybe Louisiana next.
Yeah, they've going around looking at places. So I mean, there's a lot of I know we're expanding. Sure, I don't really know all the areas that we're doing. I don't know if all have been determined, but
Mhm.
we're
You do
definitely
know one,
expanding.
but you just won't tell us.
At
No, a
least
couple.
one.
A couple.
Actually-
I can't tell you, but we're not ready to.
That's fair.
Yeah, you'll know. It'll happen
If
pretty
we,
soon.
If we
You'll
tell
know.
you that we mute the mics and then we don't Would you
Oh,
tell us?
okay. Yeah, no. You'll know soon enough. You'll see. Because, people are watching. It's kind of funny. The Chronicle watches us. We laugh about that a little bit. It's kind of, they keep,
Well,
Gotta
keep an eye on what we're
tabs,
doing.
see what's up.
Yeah.
we do
we
the
can
same
be.
thing with KSBJ.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you look at your competition and there's a lot of different, you kind of keep an eye on it.
We don't consider them competition. We consider them friends that we
talk to them
against.
all the time.
Yeah,
We really do through
through
but yeah.
Instagram. Every post that they post, we comment and say something.
Okay.
But I guess the cool thing, so it's community, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like Pflugerville, obviously it's not Austin, said Richardson, it's not
Yeah.
Dallas, but it's those pockets that
Well,
are
we
around.
do. We're in Austin. So we
you
have
have
like
an
a
Austin one
central
too?
Austin, a South Austin. I think we have 3 that are in Austin other than the suburbs.
Just focusing
Yeah.
on, okay, cool.
So,
It's
and
broken down.
and stuff. So we've typically, like, our model in Houston has been really outside the Beltway 8 has been pretty much what we've done. So really the community, which is where a lot of the, obviously, people, communities and stuff. And, and downtown's a different beast because of, they've got a lot of different publications and stuff out inside the city of
Mhm.
Houston. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're out there looking where we think it makes the most sense. I mean, the formula obviously works well, and it's where is there a need that we can,
Yeah. We
fulfill.
talked to TJ from I-45 now.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of what, him having a focus. We kind of asked him, why? Kind of the same stuff, just like why. And so he, telling his story and everything else.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. And then we're like, well, what's next? And
Yeah.
so he was kind of telling us some of the plans for, we'll duplicate this, kind of like what Community
Mhm.
Impact has done. So then hopefully do like an I-10,
like,
a
okay.
146 now.
Okay. Okay.
For the different
Mhm.
the different roads, make it, his logo is pretty cool because you see it and you're like, hey, I know this because it's the interstate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's
True. That's
he's done some other things. So that's kind of what his kind of, not same model, but popping up around.
mm-hmm. To do. Yeah. He's got, and he, of course, ink in his blood from the Galveston Daily News and
Mm-hmm.
all that. So he's definitely.
Yeah, he's been doing
Yeah,
it for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your biggest?
They're
Not competition.
Oh, TJ, no, he's not. I mean, actually, we've worked on stuff together with him.
Right.
That's
So
awesome.
he's a good, so I think there is some synergy for sure with what he does and what we do. And he's a great guy. So, I mean, really, really from a media standpoint, anybody that's spending money in the marketplace, not with you, is a competitor. I mean, that's really kind of how you look at it to some extent. There's different publications. There's, of course, the Chronicle and all the different, Barry Houston, different ones that are out there in the marketplace. Everybody, I guess, is technically a competitor, and all that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we do what we do, and everybody has their little niche that they do. And, so there's the need for those publications as well. They've been around a long time.
Yeah.
So,
Well, every publication that we've had we've partnered with in some way, like TJ, we
Mhm.
did, like Texas Chronicles, and I guess those are like the major ones, but we've done some stuff with like the Daily News, but not really like put like a thing on it, just because I don't know. Like Curt always says like, oh, these are our competitors. I'm like, I don't really think we have competitors, because like, if you think about it, like you're doing like the community, newspaper.
Mhm.
TJ has, what he has going on. It's like a mobile news station.
Mhm.
As far as like what other community radio FM station is kind of doing, we do. I don't know. There isn't one that we have seen.
Yeah.
There's other like online radio stations and other stuff like that, but it's a little bit different. And we just like, we're all trying to do the same thing.
Ultimately, yeah.
For the,
True.
so
yeah.
I just think that
We can
every
all
radio
coexist.
station.
Absolutely. I think,
we coexist. I like that word. We coexist, and we want to see each other be successful.
mm-hmm.
it's fun.
It's good for the industry. I mean, it's, like I said, it's the,
It's good. to keep
the death
people
has been
informed.
greatly exaggerated as they say, but
Mhm.
it's, it's everything. You just have to be able to change and adapt to what the market is. And that's
Mhm.
what some do it better than others. Some never do. And that's hence why they go under or whatever. But it's just,
Houston Post.
yeah, that was a sad.
Oh.
That was, but I did laugh about. I mean, it was like, oh, relatives from all over the country were calling.
What
Yes, I'm
happened?
unemployed. Did get a few free beers out of it though.
When
People
was
were like, oh,
when
honey.
was the Houston Post like?
95.
Okay,
So it was, it was a while ago.
I don't remember the Houston Post, but I was.
Well, yeah, and they were both, like I said, both papers were almost 100 years in this market. I mean, in the Houston market, that was one of the first really big ones that went to just a one newspaper market. So that was big news.
Was there something specific, like what was the deciding? I mean, I guess if it was the Post and the Chronicle and they were both been around for about
a long
100
time,
years. Yeah. Was there like the writing on the wall, like the Chronicle just kept going and the Post was like not, or they were there and then they folded, which led to the success of the Chronicle?
The Chronicle was growing and it was always the second paper. The Post had been the second paper for a long time. They used to be the number one back when the Hobbies, the Hobby family owned it. And then when they sold it to Dean Singleton, who also owned the Denver Post and all that at the time, when they sold it, he took it over, but it just, the classifieds, interestingly enough, was kind of what did the Post in. The Chronicle kind of embraced the classifieds and they grew, and that's so much revenue classifieds bring in and stuff. And they got that market, and it just really, it hurt the Post, and it was just a battle. And there had been, when I was there 3.5 years, and you were hearing rumors that it was going to close when I started, I mean, it was always because it was the second paper and stuff. But I told my husband before it closed, it was like on a Tuesday for sure, but the Friday before, CNN was calling the marketing department. I thought, that's not a good sign, so I worked on my resume that weekend, and sure enough, that following is like, yep, it wasn't a good, you kind of know, it's like, you could see it and stuff. It was a shame, but it was, people were very loyal to one or the other, but not enough.
It's crazy though, that you can have 4 different local TV channels in a market, and only one newspaper. Because Omaha's the same way. You have the 4 TV stations and then the one newspaper.
Yep.
It's just kind of,
well, really, there's not too many markets left anymore. Of course, New York, but there's not many that have 2 papers anymore, or they're JOA, joint operating agreement, and so they might as well be one, but they're keeping the names and stuff. So
we have a question. Someone asked what your thoughts are on the Texas Tribune. I'm guessing that's a paper.
I think is that the one that's up out of Austin?
Let me look.
Evan.
I spelled that wrong.
I think it's right, because I think
the Texas Tribune,
isn't that Austin?
A nonprofit newsroom. Harvey 1 year later. I remember about it. Where is that one?
Austin? Is that? I think it's that Evan Smith that started that. He used to be at Texas Monthly.
Or Facebook.
I'll go there. Facebook.
We don't go to websites. We just go to Facebook.
Texas Tribune. Yeah, Austin. Okay, so that must be. That was the one. So so they do a lot of. I mean, they're a strong pay. They seem to do pretty well. They have a niche that they. I knew of a more with because I said several people from Texas Monthly had gone over there because Texas Monthly is headquartered in Austin as well.
So, what do you think is the most for the newspaper market? Like, not the impact, because that has its thing, like focusing on community. But what does the Chronicle or the big newspaper have to do? Do they have to adapt to anything, or what are your thoughts just on the industry in general?
Well, I mean, I think the struggle for the newspapers is trying to get. I mean, everything's digital. People are going digital, but you can't make the revenue like you did with print. The print profit from ad sales and all that. The print is where you really make your money, but that's going down. And so, how do you adapt? Because people won't. There's very few publications that can have us pay for their website or anything like that, and that was always discussed as a big industry topic and all that. But
Daily News,
if I could fix the newspaper industry, I'd be rich.
There you go. We got 20 seconds. Galveston Daily, I was trying to read an article earlier today, but you have to log in. You have to have an account and just subscribe to their stuff, and so I can't read anything. And I was just like, well, I'm not going to create an account so I can read one article every 3 months whenever I want to.
Well, some of them will give you 5 or 6 or so many free before you have to do that. It just depends on the paper.
Good morning. You're listening to KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. We have a couple minutes left. We're talking to Kathy Turner from Community Impact Newspaper. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Curt.
We've been talking a little bit about what's next for the newspaper industry. What's next? And it's been fun. It's been fun. And thank you for joining us today.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
If you had any words of advice for anybody out there,
i.e. Gardy in his next article. I mean, I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't going to talk about that. I was going to say, like, for like the newspaper industry in general, or I don't know, or like, why should somebody look into like a community newspaper? Any final closing thoughts on anything at all?
Well, most people care about their community. So that's why you really want to read about your community. And so that's what we do in every market we're in is to support the community and help the local businesses grow. And that, I mean, I think that's a reason right there. You care about, you care about your community. You want to be a part of it. And we give you information to be able to do that.
Yeah. And how many houses does the community impact hit the Bay Area edition?
We're almost 63,000. So it's about 62.8.
Yeah. And that's like guaranteed if you
Yes.
are looking to advertise or get some spots in there, some real estate in the newspaper, then 63,000 potential homes not potential, 63,000 is going into for sure. Maybe more.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. It's 10:59. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Oh,
Kathy.
Thank you. Thanks
We
for
had a
having me.
blast.
Same here.
And we'll have to meet up and talk about doing articles and stuff like that. Possibly.
Sure. Let's get together.
All right. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. It's 11 o'clock. Hey, what do we got going on tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow we have a lot going
On the
on.
spot.
Man, putting me on the spot.
Your turn.
Tomorrow we do have iCryo coming in. I know
yeah.
that. And then we also have Darcy from the Texas City to talk about the art walk that is taking place this weekend.
And I'm excited to talk about the Old Smoky Cook-Off in Texas City as well.
And we're going to Pierogi Queen
To
tomorrow
film.
afternoon to film.
Yeah, so that's
we got a
Polish
busy
food.
week.
Go check out Pierogi Queen. Tell them I sent you. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. Coming up next is Bethel. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. This is Kickstart.
All right.
See you guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you for listening. Congratulations to our winners of the gift card. And then
Hit us up.
See
Sign
you
up
guys
for the
tomorrow.
next one.
Yes. Mike.